Welcome back. Today we are going to be finishing our project. And last time we did the server part. Keep in mind that we still have problems on the, where was it? On the OpenAI over here because of the token. And since I record this 1 week apart, I definitely need to switch on my token. But in the code, we should be done and we do not have anything to worry about. Now, currently I'm going to head on to the client, and here I'm going to list cd client, cd client, and here I'm going to say npx create react app, and I'm going to call this, okay, that's always the interesting part. I might call this Frontend, and then I can call it client, but here I'm just going to call this AI website. AI website, just like this. I think dashes are not allowed, so I'm going to go with AI website. Good. Now when we're creating the React app, we need to wait a little bit, and I will come back with you later. All right, now we are done, and it says happy hacking over here, and we are able to go to CD, our AI website, and here we have our stuff. Now, as per usual, I'm just going to go to, yeah, you can see these two folders here. First, we have the client and the AI website. I don't want this to happen, but I did create this client folder before, so it isn't my fault. Let's now go to source, and there are a couple of things that we need to delete. And I'm going to go with app test.js, index, CSS, logo, report, and setups. Git ignore is what is not going to be pushed, so I'm going to also remove these. Just like that. Oops, not the app. We're going to need the app. That's going to be good. Let's go to app.js now. I'm going to go delete this logo over here, pretty much delete everything in here. You keep it nice and simple. Import app CSS, and here we're going to start from scratch. Good. So currently we only have app CSS, JS, and index.js, which is fine. I do have some red lines, but I do want to see if it's going to work. So I'm going to say npm start. Everything should be compiling successfully at the moment. And here is our thing. It is ready. Okay, there we go. So everything is successful. And of course, if I go to app.js and I place a very quick header here, so hello YouTube, you're going to, first I need to go to the local host again, but if I do, you're going to see this. Good. So everything is actually rendering successfully. It's compiling successfully. Let's remove this out of the way and actually get our structure done. The first thing that I want to do is in source, I'm just going to create a new folder and I'm going to call it components. All right, just so we can structurize our system a little bit. And due to the components, I'm going to create the folders that we're going to be using. Now, these are going to be the about for our about page. Let's go like this. Then I'm going to create contact for our contact page, and you get the idea. Then we're going to get home, and pretty much the folders that we are going to need. Navigation bar. After that is going to be sign in, and after that is going to be sign up. All right, so for the moment, these are the things that I have in mind that I want to build, and these are the folders that I'm going to place over here. Good. So before we actually go to the app.js, I want to go to the app CSS here, and we said we're starting from scratch, so I just want to put some stuff before that. I'm going to go with padding is going to be equal to 0, margin is going to be equal to 0, and we're going to go with box sizing border box. I'm going to do this just so we get a completely nice out of the box body with a background of, here you can choose anything. I'm going to go with white smoke because I love this color. Good. Now we're going to go to the app.js. Here we're going to have something that we haven't done before, and this is going to be the router. Now we need to have the navigation bar over here. So this is going to be our nav bar. Let me just go pick a great color that you're going to see, and we're going to have different stuff. So here is going to be home, for example. Then we're going to have, I don't know, what we said, about page, just like that. Then we're going to have something else. So we want this to be inside our components. Actually, not for our components, but for the entirety of our application. We want this navigation bar to be existing. Now, when I actually click on the home, I need to re-render the home page, which can be found in the components folder over here. And so the same goes for the about and for the else, which goes to every other page that we're going to have, right? And in order for us to do that, we are going to need to install something called React Router DOM. So I'm actually going to quit the compilation over here, clear ls. I'm going to say npm install, and I'm going to go with React Router DOM. There you go. This is what is going to allow us to put ourselves in routes, and we can define clear routes with the path element, the path property, and then based on whatever you actually clicked, you're going to render a different component, which is how the navigation market is going to work. Good. Now I'm not entirely in need to re-render. All I need to do here is to say import, and I'm going to import a couple of stuff. The first one is going to be browser router. So browser, there's no IntelliSense because it didn't say from where. So import, let me do this. From, and then I'm going to say React Router DOM. There we go. And here I'm just going to say browser router as router. There we go. IntelliSense kicked in, route, and then I'm going to go routes. Good. I think for now this is going to be what we need. Also, we definitely need to put all of the components that we have. Currently, we do not have any components, so I'm not going to import anything else. But it is probably a good idea to also say to install our Toastify, right? This is going to be also nice. All right, let's say npm install React Toastify. This is going to be used for our notifications, as you already know. But since I'm here, I'm just going to install all of the dependencies that I want. Also, we're going to say npm install, and then we're going to go Axios. This is going to be the thing that we're going to be used, the library that we're going to be used for our queries. Good, good. Right now, I believe that we have installed everything that we're going to use, so we can move forward. Then I'm going to import our user because this is something important. So I'm going to import useState from React. And here I'm in the function app, I'm going to say const user set user. This is going to be equal to use state no. Keep in mind that we are going to have different navigation elements in our navigation bar based on whether you're logged in or not. Because here we have sign in, for example, right? And sign up. So I'm going to have sign up. This is when you're not a user. However, if you're a user, we want to have log out, and this is not going to work. Otherwise, that's why I'm going to keep a reference here. But you're going to see this in the later parts. Good. Let's now see how the routes are going to be defined. The first thing that I'm going to do is to unwrap everything into router element. After that, I'm just going to say navigation bar, just like this. And I'm going to pass the user that we have. And this is obviously something that we're going to create. And then I'm going to say set user, which is going to be our function. Good. You're going to see how this works out in just a little bit. Good. Now I'm going to say routes, and here I'm going to unwrap the route with path. This is going to be switching the URL, and based on the path that we have in the URL, is going to re-render different components. So if path is equal to this, element is going to be equal to home, where I'm going to be passing the user. It's going to be just like this. All right, now what we have is not only our home element, but rather all of the things that we're going to be used from the navigation bar. As you can see, path that is going to be like about is going to lead you to our about element. Path that is going to be like contact us is going to be leading you to contact us element. After that, you always need to import the things that you're going to be using just over here. And what is going to allow you this import is, of course, if you go to every single folder and have this. So the way you can do this is you can say RAFCE tab, and you're going to get about. And obviously I just changed this about page over here. Good, and I did this to everything. You can see it over here. In the about, I said about CSS and about JSX. In the contact us folder, I have contact us CSS and contact us JSX. In home, I just have home JSX. Here it's just going to be styled components. Nav bar, we're going to have navigation bar and navigation bar elements, and then SignIn JSX and SignUp JSX. And again, the router enwrapped the navigation bar, which is the thing that we are importing from our navigation bar folder. Actually, from our nav bar, which is called the navigation bar JSX. Good. Now, if I run that, you can see that it is compiling successfully. And I can go to localhost. You can see this. Nothing really happens. And the first thing that we want to take a look at is our navigation bar. This is what we're going to be searching for. All right. This means that we need to go to navigation bar JSX and do a couple of stuff over here before we see our links. Let's now go to the navigation bar, return, and I'm going to do it like this. And here we're going to have nav. All right. This, however, we need to import, and that's where we need to start. Import, and I'm going to say nav link. These are stuff that we have not created, but nav link. Then I'm going to go bars, nav menu, nav button. Then I'm going to go with nav button link, nav button link logout, which is going to be when we have the user button, the user menu, the user data, and the user data info. And all of that is going to come from our navigation bar elements. Good. So now nav is going to be working, and what we're going to be having here is nav link. So I'm going to say nav link. This is going to say to, and it's going to change the URL just like this. So to, and here I'm going to say home. The header one is going to be stating that whenever you're actually seeing home on the link and you click on it, it's going to nav link you to this. And we know that when you are in this part from our app.js, it's going to re-render the home component. Good. Now let's go back to navigation bar, and we have to finish these. Here I'm just going to say bars to give a little space. And then I'm going to say nav menu. And all of these nav menu, nav links, these are containers that we're going to be creating, so do not worry about these for now. In the nav menu, I'm going to have nav link, and here the next nav link is going to be to about. Whenever we are encountering to about, we are going to go to the about page. Of course, we need to give it a name, and we're going to see the name about. Whenever you're clicking on this, it's going to re-render the about page. Actually, not re-render it, rather just render it, because we can be in any other page at this current time. All right. Also, I'm going to give it style, and I'm going to say active styles. Then I'm going to say nav link to, this is going to be the contact us, so contact us. Again, active styles. Here I'm going to say contact us, just like this. And now here comes the interesting part. If I have a user, I'm not going to see sign in and sign up. I'm just going to see log out. However, I think that this for now is going to be a bit more complicated. And that is why I'm just going to, let me see, I can actually pass the user here, because if I do not do it, we're going to, let's pass it here. We're going to go back and forward a lot. So user and set user is going to be done here, and here we're just going to re-render conditionally, and we're going to say if we don't have a user, And here we're going to go like this. I'm doing this because if we do not have an active user, it means that we either haven't signed up or haven't signed in. And that is why here I'm just going to say nav link to, this is going to be sign up, active status again, and it's going to be called sign up. All right. We're gonna get away from the nav menu, and here we're going to create a nav button. Now we're going to have two buttons. If I do not have the user, I'm going to have the button sign in, and if I have it, I'm going to have the button sign log out. Good, and now we need to check if not user. I am going to render a nav button link, and this nav button link is going to be having a to statement to sign in, just like this, and it's going to be called, of course, sign in. Oh, I write so much sign in and sign up that I kind of do not know how to spell it even anymore. Otherwise it's going to have this. What do we need here? A logout. So we're going to have a nav button link logout. It's going to be called logout. It is going to have a different style, and it is going to have an on-click method, which is going to be handle logout. Because now we need to say that the user is going to be no again. Using, by the way, the set user over here, because it's going to refresh every component that's caring about the user. All right, now we're going to have logout, and finally, I think that what we need to do is to have the user button. It's going to be on click, handle, click, menu. This is going to be the menu that you have been watching. And here we are going to have the name. The interesting part here is that if you sign up with an email that's going to be, let's say, League of Legends, I don't know, League, I cannot even spell it right, League. This is how we spell League. It should be like this, League. I think it's this. Okay, let's say League of Legends, and I'm just going to go Legends. And we're going to say gmail.com, right? You're doing this, and you're going to be taking the first letter of the email that you are using. In other words, what I'm going to be seeing is not just League of Legends email, I'm just going to see a big L enclosed in a circle as a profile, right? And that's what we want to do. That is what this user button is. In order for us to do that, here we are going to have a p tag, and the p tag is going to be from user.data.email, and we're going to take the first letter, and then I'm going to say to uppercase. There we go, enclosing the p tag, enclosing the user button. And this is we're going to get from the user, because the user has to send its email, if you remember, from the backend. All right, very good. Now we need to actually define these two functions. What are they going to be doing? Before we do that, however, now we need to say if we're going to render our menu. Keep in mind that the menu is going to be rendered once we actually have a valid user and once the user is actually clicking on its icon. The way we're going to do that is we're going to say if show menu is true, and we're going to render the following. We're going to render a user menu, and here we're going to have user data. And now this depends on what you really want. Let's actually create this over here. Const, oops, going to be here. However, I do want it like this. So it's going to be const show menu and set show menu. That's going to be use state of initial false. There we go. Now we should not be having this error. Good. Now this depends on what you really want to have over here, but I've chosen a couple of different stuff. It's not label, it is label. So it's going to be label, just like this. And I'm going to have user.data.email. We're not going to return anything from the backend as a specific user type or user name. I'm just going to use the email because it's going to be easier for me. But of course, if you wanted to do something else, you're more than welcome to try. User data info then is going to be the next component that we're going to use. Let me just user data info. All right. And in the user data info, we're going to have a bunch of p tags. And here I'm going to have manage created photos, because obviously we want to create the photos. User data info. Then I'm going to have another p tag, and all of these are going to have styles. It's just that it's going to be easier for me to put them this way. Here we're going to have messages received. Then we are going to say another p tag. This is going to be license purchase. Then we're going to have another p tag, and yeah, here you can do whatever you want. Once you actually click it, you can do it with your route, and you can re-render a different page. But I'm just going to put it like a menu and give you the ability to do whatever you want over here and make your project on your own. Just a couple of more things, settings, and then we need to put icons as well. But first I want to finish the navigation bar before the icons. And here I'm just going to go help. A user is going to be able to click on this link to get a certain details about the help information. Now, the only problems that I can see are these two functions over here. I do want to see if I have everything all right though. Yeah. Now we need to handle logout and handle click menu. First, we're going to go with handle logout, and I'm going to create it over here, calling the function handle logout. There we go. It's going to be an arrow function, and I'm going to say set user to no, because I do receive this function from our app.js over here. As you remember, you can see that we're passing our user and we're passing our function. If you're using Redux, you can do it in different ways, better ways. But as I said, for now, I'm just going to keep it simple because the project grew to be pretty big to begin with. And that's why I said to myself, there's no need for more complexity. Then we are going to produce notification. I'm just going to say produce logout notifications because I do not want to forget about this. The console handle logout function is going to be done, and now we need to say handle click menu. I'm going to go here, say const handle click menu. Again, this is going to be an arrow function, and it's going to say set show menu to show menu. Once the show menu is true, it's going to turn it to false, and once it's false, it's going to turn it to true. Now everything should be rendered successfully. Again, we should not be having anything because we have not defined the styles. You can go to your local host where your app is positioned. As you can see, mine is positioned in port 3000, and you can see the port over here. However, nothing re-renders because we do not have these styles yet. So let's go and fix them. This is going to be done in our navigation bar elements, and here I need to import styled from styled components. Why is this not working? Styled components. Oh, we did not install it, did we? All right, npm install, and then I'm going to say styled components. I think we have not installed that, yeah. Good. So I'm going to import styled, then I'm going to import a couple of things. So nav link as link from React Router DOM. There we go. And then I need to import the icons, which we do not have as well. npm install React icons. All right, let's take this out of the way. Sorry about this. I did forget that we're going to be using styled components. I thought that everything is going to be done by now, but I forgot about these. Import fa bars from React icons fa. This should be working. However, declared. Yeah, okay, there we go. We found it. Good. Good. Let's now start with our export. First, we need to say export const, and then I'm going to say nav. This is going to be equal to our styled.nav. And then we need to say tilde. This is the command right below escape. This is how we're going to be writing our styled components. We're going to have a nav, which is going to be a navigation bar, but we can style it. And then we are going to export it here, export const nav. And here we are importing this nav over here. Everything that we have imported over here, you're going to see that it is from our navigation bar elements. We are able to import it over here as nav, navlink, bars, and nav menu because we are saying export const and then the name. Let's now see, this is going to be having a background of 000. It's a bit difficult to write. We're going to have a different height, and you have to play around with these. I'm going to give you my details that I played around with. Then I'm going to go with display flex, justify content, space between, and actually there was an IntelliSense for the styled components. I have to see it in a bit. Carrot color. Now this is something that is bothering me quite a lot in nowadays. I actually hate it quite a lot. Carrot color is the following. If I go to my channel over here, you're going to see that you can click anywhere, and there was a line, this line here. If so, here you're going to see the line, and this line was seenable whenever you click on home, whenever you click on your name. In order for you to not see this line, you need to say carrot color transparent. I think that Google actually did something with their engine, and every single site was blown up. It was very ugly, and that is why I said carrot color to transparent. This is this color over here. You can see in your mouse when you're writing, right? It is yellow or orange here. This is the carrot color. Good, it's going to be transparent. Then I'm going to go a simple padding of 5 rem, and then I'm going to calculate. I'm going to use this because otherwise my navigation bar didn't work. So I'm just going to calculate how much I do want to my padding to be based on the width of the screen. You have to play around with this. And then I'm going to say z index is going to be equal to 10. I'm going to give something bigger in order for it to stand out, because I want to see it in front of every single page. Before we actually continue forward, let's go to our extensions and search for styled components. And here we have to say, there we go, highlight and stow. So I want the IntelliSense to work, to see it just like this. And that's why I'm just going to install it. I think we are good to go. Let me just now check. All right, now when we have the IntelliSense, it's going to be easier for us to work with. We have a lot of things to do here, so let's get started. Then I'm going to go say export const nav link. This is going to be equal to our styled link. And here we are going to define our styled component. All right, I don't think that there makes any sense for me to write it down with you. And that is why we're going to go through navlink together, and then we're going to copy our CSS. I can actually give you my GitHub page and you can copy it from there. But of course, I'm going to go through it in this video so we can step through the things together. I'm going to align my items into the center. I'm going to give them a non-text decoration. I'm going to give them a certain padding. And you can see it is a bit more difficult to work with than it is with CSS because there isn't this autocomplete, but it is interesting and it's something new. That's why I wanted to show you. Then I'm going to say &active. This is going to be what is going to be the color once I actually click on it. And I'm going to go with a bluish color. So 15 CDFC. There we go. Good. Now I'm actually going to take it from the GitHub and I'm going to paste it here for you. We're going to be creating the bars, and these are going to be having a media query. When I get to a very small device, I want my menu to be consisted of bars. And that is why here I'm actually going to say export const bars is going to be equal to our styled and our styled icon over here. If you remember this video where we had different bars, and when we click it, we had to create an X. This is pretty much what we're doing over here, other than the fact that I'm not creating an X, of course. Then we're going to take the nav menu, and we're going to say that this is going to be a styled div. Again, do not forget about this export const and then the name. It's very, very important. After that, I'm going to be required to have a navigation button, which is going to be styled nav again, and it's going to have a media query. After that, I'm going to create this nav button link. All of these components we already established and we did in our navigation bar. Here we just need to define them. Then I'm going to have a navigation button link logout. This is going to have a different color as opposed to the sign in, and we can say that on hover we're going to have a little bit of transition, making it a little bit bigger, and of course making it actually a little bit bigger or a little rounder. It doesn't really matter. You can put whatever you want here into the and hover effect. Here we're just going to swap the color from tomato to a little bit of more bright orange. Then I'm going to have the user button right over here. You can copy that. Then we're going to have the user menu. This is where we're going to be storing the user button is going to be what the user sees. So for example, if I have the navigation link over here, this is the user button. And then when I actually click on it with some name, we're going to have this user menu over here with manage license, help page, and so on and so forth. We did this into our navigation bar. These are these things over here. All right, then we are going to be having, I think user menu was the thing, yeah. We're going to have an absolute position. This is important here because we want to put it onto the right side of the screen below our icon. Then we're going to have the user data. So what kind of a data is this thing holding? We want it to be a flex type. And finally, we're going to have the user data info, which I can store over here. Good. Now that we have everything, we want to go and to render the page. So I'm going to go to localhost and see how this is looking out. Currently, nothing is rendered again, so we're having a problem. And let me just go to app.js. And I think that the router should be enclosing the routes, just like this. I think this is going to work. Boom, there we go. Now you can see our page. You can see our styled components. If I actually lower it down to 700 pixels, you're going to see this FA bars. Of course, when I click it, nothing really happens. But what you can do is whenever you're actually clicking this, you can perform this animation, put it to an X, and of course, render a menu over here. And here we can have a menu like this where we have the information. So sign in, the about page, and so on and so forth. Let's actually see how this is working out now. So if I say home, I'm going to be in the home page, and keep in mind of the URL over here. If I say about, you're going to see that it's changing this about over here, and it's saying about page. Contact us is going to be the contact page. Sign up is going to be the sign up page, and sign in is going to be our sign in page. You can see that we have this on hover animation here in sign in, and we do not have it anywhere else. Once we actually click on sign in, we perform the sign in, then I'm going to be removing these. So this is going to go, and here instead we're going to have a tomato-like button, which is going to be called logout. Good. Well, so far you did great. Good job for following this tutorial. It is a big project, I do know that, and it is a bit complicated to follow. So if you have gotten to here, give yourself a coffee break. And in the next video, we're going to be starting styling all of the pages. We're going to begin with home, then about, then contact, then sign up, and then sign in. And of course, finally, we are going to go to the holy grail, which is going to be the AI generation web pages. Good job, everyone, and see you in the next video. All right, welcome back. Today we're going to be building the home layout page. Now I am here into my, let's close the server and let's just go to client source and app.js. And here, when we're rendering the home component, I'm going to be passing our user. The way I can do that is just saying here on this home component, I'm going to say user is going to be equal curly braces our user. That's all that we need to do. Having that said, let's actually go to our home JSX, and here we are going to be taking a property called user. Now, why are we actually doing that? Well, because if I have a user, so if I have logged in with something, I'm going to see a different layout of our homepage. I'm going to be able to see the layout where I'm actually going to render the image. However, if I have not signed in or logged in yet, I should be seeing a landing page with two buttons, get started and get to know more. So let's get that out of the way. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to say a useState hook here, and I'm going to say const image, set image, and this is going to be equal to our useState. Now, this I'm just going to add here because whenever we're talking with the backend, we are going to be ending up receiving some bytes that are going to be representing our generated image. Now, useState is not found here, so I'm just going to say useState again and tap. All right, and we said that this is going to be no. This is not going to be important for now, but I'm just going to add it just so I do not forget it down the line. I'm also going to say let navigate is going to be equal to our use navigate from React router DOM. Now I'm going to do that because here it's not else set, it's actually let. I'm going to do that because, as I said, in the home page, when we're not having a user, we're going to have buttons that we want to go and to route us to different pages. So for example, if you don't have a user and the page is looking like this is an awful color, so I'm just going to switch it. Okay, let's switch it. So we're going to have this page. It's going to be the landing page with some, you can either add some animations if you want. This is going to be the sidebar that we have created. So I'm just going to say sidebar over here. And down here, when we're not having a user, I'm going to have one button saying sign in and another button which is going to say, I don't know, you can do whatever you want, but probably going to be help me or something like that. All right. Moving down forward, I'm going to return a main container over here that we are going to be creating down. And I'm going to do this. If I do not have a user, I am just going to render something like this. Good. This means that the main container is going to be holding everything. And if I have a user, I'm going to create something. If I do not have a user, I'm going to create the other thing. And this is the images that we have been talking about. Because if we have a user, we are going to be having the available functionality. All right, let's now go, and I'm just going to say, I don't think that I'm going to use this div, but I can say div.imageHolder. And here I'm just going to create image. I'm going to create something random, and I'm going to put a random image here. All right, let's actually store it over here. This is the image address, and this is not going to work actually. All right, I got a new one. I think this is some sunset, something like that. And then we're going to have with the out, which is going to be empty, boom, boom, and closing the div. This image holder here is just going to be for representational purposes. We're not going to use this in our real app. But as I said, I do want to see where this image holder is going to be positioned. And that's why I need to put it over here. Now, this is going to be when you're not having any users. So if this user is passed as null, which is going to be at the first time, we are going to have this image over here. And of course, I'm going to have a get started container. This is something that we're going to create in a bit. And I'm just going to say get started by creating your account. There we go, just like this. And I can tap even this mark. All right, and then I'm just going to have a special button. I'm going to say special button. We can close this, and I can say on click. Now this is not going to be found yet because this special button is going to be a stylized component of type button. So it will have the on click availability, but do not worry about that. I'm going to say change route sign in. And the button is going to be get started. There we go. Fantastic. So this is actually going to be it for us not having a user. Now we need to create this function, so let's do that. I can come in here and I can just write it over here, const, and it was change route sign in. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just going to, okay, good. Just going to copy just to not make a mistake with the name. And I'm going to say let path is going to be equal to, and we are going to have sign in. And then I'm going to say navigate to our path. All right. So you probably guessed it, but I'm just going to explain it anyway. We are having a route over here. So this is going to be our nav. Then we're going to have our landing page. And whenever I actually click on this button, if I do not have a user, which is going to be available only when I don't have a user and I'm not signed in, I'm just going to switch this routing to sign in. And I'm going to write it just like this, right? You can see how I wrote it down over here. Why did I wrote it like that? Well, because this is the path that I actually gave to render our sign-in page. And I did this right over here on the app.js. Oh, and I actually did it with now it's going to work. So as you can see, if this is the path, sign in without this mark over here, or I can just add the mark over here, and I need to add the mark over here. Otherwise, my URL is not going to be correct. Good, we have that out of the way, so this is not going to break. Now let's go with the stylized components. I'm going to go down onto our closing tag over here, and I'm going to say const main container, and I'm actually going to copy the name from this just so I'm not making a mistake. And this is going to be a styled div with an open and closed bracket. All right, let's now, I'm actually going to do it together because I think the video is not going to be so long. I want it to be relative. We're going to have some absolute positions in here. So whenever you actually have in your children an absolute position, so for example, if this is apps, this thing over here should be relative. Do not forget about that because some very ugly mistakes are otherwise happening. I'm going to go with 100% of the width, and I'm actually going to be calculating the height, and I'm going to be calculating the height based on my navigation bar. So here for me, this is working fine, and this is what I'm going to write. Of course, this means that our navigation bar is going to be 80 pixels. So this is going to be 80 pixels. And our landing page, so in other words, our home page is going to be over here, is going to start from 100 viewport minus these 80 pixels. So pretty much I'm just saying, okay, take the 100% of the screen and put the render page over here because we want the images to look flush. We want them to be looking beautiful, right? Otherwise, they're going to be part of them are going to be rendering here behind the navigation bar. The navigation bar is going to be seenable, however, the image is going to be disturbed. And that is why I actually say that the height, I want it to be different. Background size is the next thing, and I'm going to go with cover. I'm going to put everything into the center. So this is going to be justified content and align items to the center. Then I'm going to go with a carrot color, transparent. I think this problem was fixed. However, when I created this video, actually not this video, but when I created this project, something happened with our CSS, and you could see this, for example, here is the carrot color that you see. And it was seenable whenever you actually click on any element. So you click on the image and you can see the carrot in a random position of the image. And that is why I placed transparent here. You can actually skip it if you want. All right, then I need to target this image folder here. So into my style div, I'm going to say dot image folder. I'm going to put it like this, and we want to be sure that the name is actually correct. You can see it's highlighting it, so it is okay. I'm going to put 100% of the width. This is going to be for the holding image, 100% of the height. I'm going to hide everything that's going to be overflown. Okay, so something happened over here, good. And now I'm going to target the image, and here we have to play around to see what sticks, but I'm going to go first with 100% width, and then I'm going to go with 115% height. All right, good. I think that's going to be it for our main container. Style div here is not found. We need to actually add it over here. So what I need to do is to say import styled from styled component. Okay, there we go. Good. And now we should. Good. Now we're not seeing the problem. This is okay. This, however, is highlighted and the special button again. So these are the next things that we need to fix. Good, good. Let's start with the const get started container. This is again going to be a styled div, and I need to go highlight. Yeah, as you can see, it's highlighting it, so the name is okay. Good. Now, as I said, this position is going to be absolute. Absolute. There we go. IntelliSense is still not working as I expected it to be, but it is all right. I think it's okay. Display is going to be flex. I'm going to go flex direction column. I'm going to put everything to the center, so align items is going to be centered. Justify content is going to be centered as well. All right. Color, everything here is going to be of type white. I think this is going to be looking good. Then I'm going to align my text into the center as well. I'm going to put it as font size, so how big the text is going to be. I'm going to give it some padding, of course. I'm going to give it as well some height, and all of these are values that I know are going to be working all right. I'm going to give it some font weight, so this is how bold we want it to be, and then I'm going to give it some width, and here I've written this. All right, now I do want to make it a little bit flashier. I do want to have some backgrounds and then some box shadows. So these are going to be the following. The background is going to be RGBA, Q55, all the way to the alpha channel, which is going to be 0.25. Then I'm going to create a box shadow, and the box shadow is going to be 0, 8 pixels, 32 pixels, 0, and then it's going to be this color. This depends on the photo that you actually create and that you choose. I chose a pretty random photo for now, so we're going to see how this is going to look. But we have to, since this is an AI generated website, we want it to be something that the AI generated, right? And I just found a random photo. So this is going to look bad, but I will change it. Do not worry about that. Now it is yelling because I don't have a semicolon over here, right? Then I'm going to go backdrop filter, and I'm going to blur it a little bit. This is a very interesting effect, and we're going to do it on the sign in and sign up pages. It's going to be a bit like crystallized effect. You're going to love it. I think it's looking very good. Border radius, I do want it to be a little bit smoother onto the edges. Color, I do want to hold white again. Text transform, everything there is going to be uppercase, and transform, there we go. Let's say uppercase. This means that whenever you're actually writing something, for example, this get started over here, even if I write it with just like this, it's still going to change it to uppercase. Good. So this is our text transform, and the final thing is our letter spacing, which I'm going to place at 0.4 rem. And of course, semicolon, don't forget that. Good. So we're actually having the main container, we're having the get started container, and the final thing that we need to do here is the button. However, before I actually do the button, I think I need to put, oh no, these are actually it. Yeah, this is the only one that's highlighted as an error. So let's go and create it. This is going to be special button, and we're going to have an effect over here. So I'm going to explain it in a bit. The effect that I chose to do is the following. Let's say that this is going to be the button, and here we're going to be having a text, and our text is going to be get started. Let's say get start. There you go, because I didn't make a small button. Whenever you actually hover on it, I do want it to have a bit of a dynamic effect, and I want it to be like this. So I want it to split it, and this side is going to go to the left, and this side is going to go to the right. You have already seen this effect that I've chose into the video that I represent the project. However, here we're going to see how we're going to do it. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to say margin top, and I'm going to give it 25 pixels. After that, I'm going to say that the color is going to be white. I'm going to choose a specific width and specific height for my button. So this all depends on how you want it to look for you, and of course how many buttons you want, because you have to align them to look good. Then I'm going to go font weight, and this is going to be 600. Outline is going to be none. I hate outlining on my buttons. We need to make the cursor saying that this is the mouse. So the mouse we want to appear like I cannot really draw it. I'm not that good at drawing, but all right, and like this. This is actually pretty good. I'm actually very impressed. So you're going to see the button, the button in the background, and the mouse is going to be this pointy finger, right? This is what we're doing here. All right, I'm gonna give it non-background. I'm going to make it smoother onto the edges, so border radius. I'm going to hide everything that's gonna be overflowing, the overflow hidden, and then I'm gonna give it a relative position. Good. I'm gonna give it a relative position because now we're going to have an element that we're going to move. Now let's say ampersand, two dots, and then I'm gonna go before. This is the before element, so what we're gonna be rendering before actually our button appears. And this is going to help us with the effect. So let's say background, and I'm gonna give this color. All right. Then I'm going to give it content. It's going to be empty content, of course. The position here, you guessed it, is going to be absolute. All right. Top is going to be 50%. And again, you can play around with it to see what's going to be sticking for you. Transform, I'm going to translate it minus 50% and minus 50% on both axes. The Z index is going to be -1. I'm going to give it a transition that's going to be 3 seconds ease. Again, you can play with the transition time. You can put it at 1 second is a lot, actually. I tried 1 second. It's actually looking bad with 1 second, but we can try 0.5. Usually, I choose 0.3 or 0.4. I think this is best for human interaction. All right, then let's go with height, 0%, and then I'm going to go transform. I'm going to translate it. Again, minus 50%, and I'm going to rotate it 45 degrees. So why I'm actually rotating it? Well, this is the thing that I try to explain. Whenever we're having a button with some text here, I want it to, the before element to be like this, right? And I'm going to go both ways. Good. Now that we have that, I am going to say on hover, the before element is going to increase its height. Pretty simple. And on hover, the color is going to be black because otherwise we're not going to be able to read anything. All right, I think that's it for now. Let's actually see how this is going to work. So I'm going to list cd client, cd AI website, and then I'm going to npm start. Good, there we go. And now while we're actually rendering, here I'm passing this ugly thing, but this is going to be fixed. However, what do I expect is to see my window like this, the navigation bar here, the page that's going to be sitting in this position, and of course this button that I have been talking about. And we're going to see if the animation actually works. Now for some reason, actually having some problems to start. Oh, there we go, it starts. Good, I'm taking it here and I'm gonna see it first time with you. So let's actually see. All right, boom, there we go. So you're going to see this is what we did. If I go into the about page, contact us page, sign up and sign in, everything is the same, but in home, I have this. And this is the effect that I have been talking about. There we go. As you can see, it is very smooth. This is the thing that I have been talking about. This is this glamourism effect that I wanted to make. It looks like it is in a piece of glass. You can see the shadow over here, the bluish shadow over here. And of course, the image that I chose is a good morning image, which is a horrible image. So let me just pick another one. All right, I think I found actually a better image. Let's actually change it to this image over here. So you can copy that and let's now go to localhost and see how this is going to look out. So there we go. I'm going to open this up and you're going to see that this is our image now. So I kind of like this as a landing page. I think it looks very good. And if I click on get started, I'm going to go to sign in. As you remember, I do have this use navigate function that's going to switch whenever I click on these. And the get started button now. Get started by creating your account. Again, you can play around with your colors and you can choose a different image if you'd like. I think I like this quite a lot, and I'm going to leave this as my starting page. If, however, you want something else, I think I have another very good image, and it is this thing over here. I'm going to copy that, and I have this Hotpot AI Images Site AI Headshot Maker teaser. If I go now to the local host, you're going to see that this image is the image that I'm using into my video where I'm actually showing you the project. And this image is now, I have a typo here. Let me just fix this. Get started by creating your account. There we go. And now I'm going to use this. Right. So as you can see, everything is actually readable here. We have these AI image generated faces, and I think it's looking pretty good. You can use both of the images if you like. I'm going to use this one into the landing page, and whenever I'm having a user, I'm going to use the other one for the home button. And here is the effect that I wanted to make. And when I click and get started, I'm going to sign in page. All right. Well, today we built this home landing page. I hope you found this video useful, and stay tuned for the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye. Welcome everyone. Last time we did build the server, we did build the home page, this navigation bar, and today we're going to be continuing with our about page. Then we're going to go with contact us, sign up, and sign in the other videos. All right, well, let's start it. This video is going to be shorter than usual, so I'm very excited because it is going to be easier to watch and easier to make. All right, well, I'm not going to do anything fancy about the about page. All I'm really going to do is I'm going to have a couple of questions, a couple of answers, and a picture that's going to be on hover switched with another one. So I'm going to do this by saying that our covered image is going to be equal to something, and then I'm going to say first image is going to be equal to something. After that, I'm just going to say, because I want to know when this image is changed, image URL, and then of course set image URL is going to be a used state hook tab, so you can import it right over here, and we're going to first initialize it to our first image. All right. The way I actually want this page to be looking at the moment is going to be the following. Let's say that I'm going to have my page over here. I'm going to have my photo. So navigation bar is going to be here. And let's go with, I don't know, this for navigation bar. Then I do want my page to continue with my photo over here. So it's going to be something like that. And after that, I'm going to have a couple of lines starting from here. Let's go with different color. A couple of lines starting from here. I also want a different color, something lighter, I would presume. All right, there you go. Here we're going to have a question, then we're going to have an answer, question and answer, and it's just going to be a very simple looking about page. So for example, who are we, right? And then we're going to ask something else. Here's going to be the paragraph where we're going to have the answer, another quick question, another answer, another question, and another answer. All right. And this is not going to be the same as the questions that we're going to use. So the fact to frequently ask questions, these are just going to be to let the users know what the company is doing and what can they expect as a client. So I do want something like this. Let's see how we're going to make it. This div over here, I'm just going to remove that. I'm going to be returning a container first. All right. So I'm going to have this class container, and then I'm going to have the image holder. So this is going to be image holder. All right, there we go. Now in my image holder, I'm obviously going to have an image. So let's just put this, but with the source being our image URL over here. I'm going to put nothing as the alternative, and that's going to be it. Here we're going to have a couple of things. So on mouse out, event. This is going to be change image, and we're going to change this to covered image, covered image. There we go. And I'm also going to have on mouse leave, which is going to be another function change image back to our first image. And we can, of course, set this to a simple function. I'm going to do this in a bit. We don't need two different functions for these. We can just have this as another state here as equal to true and false, and I'm just going to switch between them. All right, having this div set, the other thing that I want is the overlay, because I do want when I'm having an image, I do want some overlaying text. So this is going to be the overlay. Oops, overlay. There we go. And here I'm just going to put a header 1 saying generate them with our AI. There we go. All right, these divs are done, and now we're going to go below this div, and here we're going to create a div called info. Here is where we're going to be storing our questions and answers. Now, for some reason I'm having a problem. Can I see why though? All right, the JSON JSX element must be wrapped in a closing tag. Oh yeah, of course. We wanted this to be closing like that. All right, because everything here, the overlay is going to be part of the image holder, right? I want it to be there. So now we're going to go here, and I'm going to create my div.info. All right. So here I'm just going to start with a couple of labels, and you can do whatever you want. I'm just going to say, who are we? There we go. And here I'm going to have a paragraph saying lorem. All right. So this is going to be a bit more text than I would like, but you can go with whatever you want here. And another label that I'm going to say, what do we do? Okay. So let's go with the paragraph. Again, I'm going to go with lorem, because we're doing and we are the same thing. Okay. Then I'm going to go with another label. This is going to be the final. How do we do it? There we go. And again, well, pretty boring, so I'm just going to go with lorem. All right, there we go. So we have the info, we have the labels, we have the paragraphs, and we're really just done. So the final thing we need to do is to create these images, to put something here, and of course to create the functions. So let's actually go with functions. I'm just going to say const change image. It's going to take forward image, and I'm just going to set the URL. So I'm just going to say set image URL to be our image. I'm going to do the same for now. Change image back. Change image back. And this is going to set image URL to our first image. All right, now we need to go and find good images. So let's do that. So for hovered image, I'm going to paste this. And for first image, I'm going to be pasting this attribute. There we go. You can copy them, and I'm going to show you how they look when we actually render the about component. Well, we're actually pretty close to finishing. The only thing we need to do is to go to about CSS and actually do some styling. Oh, and of course, we also need to import here the about CSS. All right, let's go and see how this is going to be done. Probably it's going to be better if I can manage to put it here, just like that, and I'm going to close this. All right, good. So the first thing that we need to be targeting is our container. I'm just going to go with container. We're not going to do with stylized components here because we already showed them. Let's do something else. I'm going to go with carrot color, and this is going to go transparent. I did explain this why in the previous video. I'm going to go with display flex, and then I'm going to be calculating my height. Now I'm doing this because of our navigation bar. So if I have the nav bar over here, I want my image overlay to start from here, because this thing over here is a pixel. Right. So a simple calculation needs to be done. Good. Then I'm going to go flex direction. This is going to be row because we want, as we said, to be split up. So this is going to be the image over here. And then we want our labels to be over here. Okay, position going to be relative. Align items is going to be center. All right, very good. Now, the next thing that we need to do is to target the image holder, which is going to be this thing over here. So let's just copy that. And I'm going to go with the display flex. I'm going to go column because the image holder needs to have the photo over here and the overlay somewhere in the middle. I would like it to be. All right, I'm gonna give it a simple padding, so 2 pixels, nothing crazy, and I'm gonna align everything to the center. So align items, center, and then justify content, center. Now let's actually target the image property over here. So image holder is gonna be holding an image, and I'm going to go with something that I don't know if it's going to look right. You have to change that. So width and height are going to be 500 pixels. Border radius is going to be 5 pixels, and I'm going to give it a border 2 pixels solid black. I want to give it a border because this is going to make my image stand out a little more. So this, what it's going to do is, if I have the image over here, I'm going to have this little tiny little border right over here, just like that, or something like this, and it's making the image looking a little bit better. All right, then let's target the overlaying. So we want this generate image with our AI to be in the middle. So I'm going to say overlay. Display is going to be flex. Color is going to be white smoke. I do love this color. Position is going to be absolute. Opacity is going to be a little bit out. And now I'm going to create a box shadow. So this one is going to be a bit heavy, and I'm just going to place it down like this. Right. So I'm going to put it like that. And of course, you can do whatever you like. I just found this in the internet, and you can go to, I'm going to show you actually. All right, let me just bring this up. We're going to see this site, get CSS scan, and here you're just going to choose a shadow. So for example, I really like this one. I'm just going to click on it, copy it, and here I can just paste it. As you can see, this is a shadow that I know it looks good, and it's copied from the internet. So that's what I did. Now I'm going to scroll right so you can actually paste it on your code. Just write it down, and of course you can go with the video and rewind backwards just to see some value. But of course, this is something that you can choose on your own. As I said, this site was pretty unique, and you can see how the box shadows are actually working. All right, let's move forward then. It's time for us to access the info. So the way I'm going to do that is point info. I'm going to go with display flex. Flex direction is going to be column, and then justify content is going to go to the center. All right, now I'm going to target the label and the paragraph as final. So info, and then I'm going to target label. I want it to be color gray because I think this looks good. 35 pixels is a font size, margin bottom 20 pixels, nothing crazy. Width, I'm going to go 100%. Justify content is going to be center. I'm going to go with border bottom, and I'm going to have 1 pixel solid black. This is what's going to allow me to actually have this. If I have the white color over here, the navigation bar, the item, and this little bar that we have been talking about. Just like that. Of course, it's going to be black, not white. Text line is going to be center, if I can type it correctly. There we go. And font weight is going to go 500. All right. What's final for us is to target the paragraph. So let's do that now. Info of P, margin top. We have 120 pixels. Padding is going to be 1 pixel. Margin bottom is going to be 15. Font size, I'm going to do something smaller. And then I'm going to give it a color black. So let's actually now see how our local host is coming up. Now, as you know, I have problem area on my recordings. I'm going to have to, there we go. All right, so boom, there we go. This is how our about page looks. So we're going to have this, and then when I hover on it, you're going to notice that it actually changes the picture from this beautiful girl to another random picture written by AI. And of course, you can play around with the calculation if you want it to be a little bit above. I think, and I find this actually to be pretty decent. So this is our about page. Now we have the home, we have the about, and the thing that we need to do is the contact us, sign up, and sign in, which we're going to do in later episodes. I hope you found this video useful. If you have any questions, leave them down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Hello everyone. So far we have the following: this landing page, this about us page, and today the next thing in line is the contact us page. So let's go ahead on the Visual Studio Code and build it. Okay, let's jump into the Visual Studio from where we left off, meaning that this is the About page that we built it. And let me just go a little bit down. And we said that we're going to be focusing on the Contact Us. So Contact Us here is already in the navigation bar, meaning that we should have it in this folder right over here. And if you do not, just add a contact JSX and a contact CSS. That's the thing that we're going to be focusing on. I do believe that you have, though, because we have already went through the navigation bar. So let's jump right into it. Okay, now firstly, it's probably good for us to define what our contact us page is going to look like. How are we actually imagining it? Now, what I'm going to be aiming to do is, let me see, are these lines any good? I'm going to go with black. So I'm going to have some gray out font, so something that's going to be a grayish, at least that's what I aim for, meaning that from this part to the end of the screen down over here, it is going to be not green, sorry, grayish. We want to have this little gray font. I think it's going to be looking a lot professional. Now, I'm not going to go and color this, even though I really want to, but it's going to have this color. And after that, the contact us page is probably going to be something like this, pretty straightforward and simple. And we're going to have to make it a little bit flashy. Probably going to put at the end how it's going to look like. So we're going to have this form, and after that, I'm going to be aiming to have a FAQ here. These are going to be the frequently asked questions, and they're going to be in a accordion-like structure, meaning that a user is actually going to be able to come here and click. Let's go with black again. Is going to click and see the answers to a frequently asked question. Of course, these are going to be questions that we want to have the answers for. After that, I'm going to have one form over here. So it's going to be something like this. Then we're going to have a green submit button over here that the user is going to be able to click and add a couple of his credentials. For example, email, name, and of course, the subject that he wants to ask. So these are going to be like these. Boom, there we go. I written them down. So well, we can, of course, we can add whatever we want, but in this case, I think I'm going to go with these. We might change in the future, right? So email, phone, message, they're going to be staying here. And after that, we're going to have this other div right over here. And here we're going to have the FAQ. So this is going to be our frequently asked questions. Now let's go and actually type this down. So it's going to be something like this, around in the middle. And after that, we're going to have the following. So we're going to have a plus sign over here, and we're going to have these little lines that a user is going to see. Now, you're obviously going to see just the question. I'm going to do like this. You're going to see a question, and you can be able to click on this plus in order to see the answer of this question. So this is going to be pretty unique. This is called an accordion. And this is what I'm going to be aiming at. To be honest, it's looking amazing. I might even leave this as a thumbnail. I don't know. All right, let's go ahead and build this. So sadly, now I'm just going to have to delete everything and be in this empty page. But soon this is going to change. All right, now we're in the contact.jsx. Here I have this div. I'm just going to remove it. And the first thing we want to do is to actually create our data. So right below the contact over here on this class, I'm going to be creating our data. I'm going to be calling it const data, and it's going to be an array holding our question and the relative answer. So let me just show you how to build the first one. And of course, then I'm going to build my things and you're going to build your own. In the array, I want to add objects, right? So I'm going to do curly brackets, space, and here I'm going to put a comma because it's going to be multiple objects. Now, of course, you might have only 3 questions, but as I said, I want to have a little bit more to look a little bit more professional. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to set a key, and I'm going to call this key question. So the question is going to be something, right? So for example, I'm going to say, can I use the image that I acquire from this service? Since this is what a user might ask. Now, we are saying that this is AI generated image. So can we use this image or not? Of course, and the answer after that is going to be yes. Every image that is created from the AI is free of charge and free to use in the future. Of course, you are going to be a douchebag and you will actually charge your clients for this. Now, with that said, let's actually copy this, and I'm going to be pasting it here, here, here. Oops, not like that. I want it to look a bit more. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So this is going to be our data. Now, of course, I'm going to trim my questions the way I like them. You can just leave them like that. So I'm going to cut the video here, and we're going to see each other in a second because you're not even going to realize. Okay, I was quick, right? Let's see my questions. Can I create multiple images and download them one by one? And here we're going to have no. Every description that you write is for one particular image. When will the next version come up? What do I have an account in order to download? Do I have to have it? Can I make videos and include the picture as thumbnails? And can I use the images for selling and monetizing them? Of course, here I said no, because as I said, I'm a douchebag. All right, let's go down here onto the return. And I'm just going to close on this data. This data is going to be allowing me now to make the accordion structure. All right, the first thing that I want to do now is to actually create a, here we're not going to do everything with stylized components, just to keep things different. And here I'm going to say on this div CL, so this is going to be class name, and I'm going to call it contact. I'm just going to create a div like structures. We're going to go and look at them because one subscriber of mine said that it is a bit confusing if we're not seeing what we're doing, and I kind of agree with that. So today we're just going to build something, then we're going to go watch what we actually built. So the first thing that we're going to create is a div. So we want to have this div that's going to be standing below our navigation bar. And I actually cannot show you this. Actually, I can go to contact CSS, and which reminds me to actually import it. So always import that contact CSS, and I can show you the space that this div is actually taking, but it's not going to have anything in it, and that is why I first want to add something on it. So let's actually now go and build a form. The form is going to be these things that we have been talking about, you giving your email or username and then a message, because once you actually submit, you're going to send something. So I'm going to say action, and I'm going to leave that as an empty. And I'm going to say on submit, and I'm going to leave that as empty again, because we're not going to be publishing anything to a server or to some backend. We're just going to delete everything once you actually click on submit, and we're going to refresh the page. So now I'm going to create a new div, and this div is going to be CL form word. That's just how I'm going to call it. And I'm going to say contact us as header 2. Good, so let's now actually go down. And here in the form word, I want to have some span. This is going to be our full name. And then I'm going to break a line, so BR. After that, I'm going to have an input. So let's go with input. And this input is going to have a couple of stuff. So the first one is going to be its class name. I'm going to just call it input1. Then I'm going to say what type it is going to be. It's going to be text. Name is going to be full name. That's what we're gonna be using later, and of course it is going to be required. After that, I will be breaking the line and put a new span. So this is going to be, we said that we're going to have an email and a phone. Here I'm gonna have a full name, and I'm just going to say phone number over here on this span. All right, then I'm going to break the line. After that, I'm going to say input. This is going to be our input area for the user to put on his phone. And just give me 1 second. Okay, sorry, somebody was calling me on the phone. So this input is going to be phone number, again, class number. It's going to be input1. We want to have the same input. Type is still going to be text. Then we're going to have name. It's going to be phone. And it is, again, going to be required. After that, I'm just going to break the line. So far, we're having this. Let's actually go, and I'm going to show you. Boom, there we go. Okay, good. So we have the contact us, then we have the full name. This is going to be the title. We have this bar over here to add the final message. Before adding the final message, most of the professional sites, they want to have an email that they're actually going to publish the message to. So of course, I'm not going to go away from this, and I'm going to say enter email, or probably your email. No, let's go enter email. I'm going to break the line again. So this is going to be our title. And here, of course, we're going to have our input.
So let's see what we have in our input, and I'm going to structurize them a little bit better. Let me just write them down. The class name is going to be the same because I do want to have the same stuff. Type is going to be text, name is going to be email, and it is going to again be required. Okay, let's br break, and here now we are going to have our message. All right, so here we're going to say span. This is going to be message. This is going to be the message that we're going to be sending to the site owner. All right, and here we're going to have a text area. It's going to be name message. Let's go with like that, and then it is going to be required. And I'm gonna open and close just like this. Okay. Then I'm going to go BR. And finally, I'm going to say button submit. Let's now see what we have. So there we go. You can see that we're currently having our full name over here, phone number, enter email, these two, and finally, I'm just going to submit. Please fill out this field because it is required to submit, and it actually refreshes the page. And as you can see, these are the data that we can then send over. Good. So currently we have the only thing. It's not styled in any matter, however, and I'm thinking, should I style it first or should I put the accordion here? You know what? What I'm going to do is here below this div, I'm going to create a new div. I'm going to call this back. So this is going to be the frequently asked questions, and I'm just going to give it a header that's going to be calling it back. All right. And of course, here we're going to be passing the accordion data structure that we have. So this data over here to build up the accordion. But before we do that, I want to see, there we go. Okay, good. So currently we have a div, and right below this div, I have another div. Now, this is not something that I want because as you remember my beautiful drawing, it was something like this. The first div was here and the second div was actually over here, taking the rest of the space. So this is what we're going to be doing now. This is how we want to style it. I'm going to go style it and then do the accordion structure in the frequently asked questions that I have been talking about. So let's go back to Visual Studio. Okay, we're on to Visual Studio now, and what am I going to do is I'm going to take this contact, drag it onto the right side of the screen, and I'm going to have this. So the first thing that we want to style, and do not forget that you want to import it right over here. Import contact CSS or whatever your name .css is. So let's go with .contact, and here I'm going to first say display flex, and I'm going to give it a background color being gray. Now let's actually take a look at the localhost. Currently, you're going to see that our div is looking a little bit fishy. So this means that we need to define what kind of height we actually want. And here I can put height, and I'm gonna say 100% view height. If I do that, I'm going to get this scrolling over here. As you can see, we're talking about this thing over here. Now I do not want to see that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say calculate. I'm going to take 100% view height minus 80 pixels. I'm saying minus 80 pixels, and this is going to work fine because the 80 pixels is this thing over here. So this thing over here, our navigation bar, and if I actually take the right color, so it's going to be seeable, this thing over here is going to be 80 pixels. So pretty much I'm subtracting that to make sure that I fit on my entire screen without having the scroll bar over here. All right. After that, I'm going to say that the carrot color, I always have problems pronouncing this word. The carrot is going to be transparent. I do not want to see the carrot at all. I'm going to, let's go like this. I'm going to align items in the center, justify content in the center, and of course, I'm going to say flex direction. It's going to be row for this particular div. Now, here you're going to see that this is the mother div, and we're holding them, and I want it to be row because, as I said, I want my contact form to be here and my frequently asked questions to be over here. So in order to make this spacing, I am required to have them in a row side. All right, good. So let's actually see how this is going to work now. Everything should be in the middle, as you can see, and it's still just in the middle. We do not have this div on the right side, but we're going to handle this. Next thing I want to do is I'm actually going to target the contact, and then I'm going to contact form. So this is going to style this form here that we have. So let's go with a certain height. Now I have some details here that I have tried and I liked. So you can always go and change it and make it on your own. I'm going to go with this height and display flex. Flex direction is going to be row. Color, I'm going to go with gray. I'm going to give it a certain padding. And I'm also going to choose a width. I'm going to choose this particular width. Background color, I'm going to go with black. All right, and border radius is going to be 10 pixels because we want to smooth the edges. So let's actually see now. I'm going to go and open it up, and you can see that this is what we have. So currently, this is going to be our form. It's going to be like, let's get the white color over here. This is going to be 550 pixels from what we got so far. And this thing over here is going to be 1050 pixels. So currently you're going to see that we have the FAQ over here. I'm going to center it over here onto the center, and I have the contact us on the left side. Of course, my idea is to bring the contact us page to the whole depth. So I want the submit button to be green and I want it to be here. And of course, here we're going to have the frequently asked questions alongside with their answers. But so far, this is what we have, and I think it's beginning to look rather nice. So let's go back to the Visual Studio now. The next thing that I want to do is I'm going to say form word, and this is our header 2. I'm just going to give it a certain padding because I do want it to be a little bit spaced out. So if I open it up, you're going to see that contact us is having some pixels dropped. Okay, let's now target these spans. So we are going to target these things over here. This is going to be .form word, and here I'm going to say span. I'm going to go with Elise Blue or Alice Blue, and I'm going to change the font size, and of course I'm going to give it a certain weight. So let's actually see how this is going to look out. I think this is rather nice. I'm not entirely sure if I want to keep these white or Alice Blue because this is a little bit whitish, but for now I think I'm gonna go with it. All right, let's handle the input now. So I'm going to say form word, and here I'm going to go input. Now this is going to target all of the inputs, and for all of them I want a 5 pixel padding. I do not want any outline because I do not like it. I don't want any border because I do not like it. So border, none. Then I'm going to go with color. This is going to be black. The caret color is going to be black. Border radius is going to be 5 pixels. We want to smooth the edges. Margin bottom is going to be 25 pixels. Margin top is going to be 15 pixels. So let's now actually see how this is going to look out, and I think I like that quite a lot. And you're going to see that this is looking rather nice. All right. Now we want to go for the text area. So I'm going to say form word. So this is our form, and I'm going to go with text area. There we go. I want to give it a 5 pixel padding. I'm going to outline none. I'm going to go with caret color black, and I'm going to give it a little bit more height. So let me see how this is looking now. And this is beginning to look just as I wanted to. The only thing that I have to do is this submit button over here. Now we need to take care of that. So this is what we're going to be doing. .form words, and I'm going to target the button. I want it to be Alice Blue, so with the text inside, and I'm going to give it a background. So background color, I'm going to go green. Then I'm going to give it no border, and I'm going to be outlining none. I'm going to give it some padding just so the text looks good inside. I'm going to make a cursor pointer because it is a button, and I'm going to give it a specific width. So let's see how this is going to work. Now, what I do not like is the fact that I have this line over here. So probably I'm just going to switch with 74 pixels. And this is looking on 110%, rather nice. I think I'm going to leave it like that, actually. All right, I'm going to leave it like that. Now you can go and choose a different width, and actually let's go with 172. So what I'm trying to see is to align these the perfect as good as I can, and I think 172.5 is going to be the way to go. Yeah, I think I like this. I think I like this quite a lot, actually. That's good. So I'm going to leave it like that. And now we need to, on hover, change something because we want to have some tiny effect. I'm not going to go anything fancy. I'm going to say button on hover, and I'm just going to switch the color. So background color is going to be light green. And this is going to allow me now, so when I hover on it, you can see that it's changing colors. Now, it is a bit too much, probably. I don't know, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, it's easily seenable. I'm gonna leave it like that, but of course, you're going to do whatever you want with your form. But what I can do to make it a little bit better is I can go here and I can say transition 0.4 seconds, and this is going to look smoother now. There we go. I think this looks good. Okay, good. All right. Then I believe the final thing that we have to take care of is this frequently asked questions over here. We're going to say .faq is going to have a certain padding, 25 pixels, the same padding that I have over here on the header 2 tag. And I'm going to align everything on the center. After that, I'm just going to say margin bottom 35 pixels before I build the accordion. And here, this is what's going to look like. So I think this is looking rather nicely, having it like so. And the div over here is starting from here. So now we can actually get into building the more functional component of this video. Okay, good. So how are we going to do that? Now I'm going to go back to Visual Studio Code for this. And over here, I'm going to go, oh, actually, I do have it over here. I'm going to close this contact.css. We do not need it anymore. And here on this FAQ tag, I'm going to add my accordion. Before that, however, I do need to create the file. So I'm going to go over here on the contact, right click, new file, and I'm just going to call this accordion.js. I'm going to keep it as a plain JS. So RFAC, and I'm going to take this. And here, all I'm going to do is I'm going to say accordion tab, and I need to pass on the data. If you remember, we have it over here. This is going to be our data. So all we're really going to do here is I'm going to say data is going to be equal to our data component, data object actually. Okay, good. So currently we have this component, and now we need to go into it. And here in these brackets, I do need to take my data. So I'm going to say data, and currently I can do whatever I want with this. Here we have the questions and we have the answers. All right. One thing that I'm going to do before that is to actually stop the execution, go into your client AI website, wherever your source folder is, and say npm install react icons. This is what I'm going to be installing because I'm going to use a plus and a minus icon. So you're going to see how we're going to do that, but we need the icons to be installed. Now that I actually have it, I'm going to say npm start again. And this is going to rerun my local host, which is right over here. All right, good. Now, before I actually do continue, I need to set up the window frame. Okay, I did set my window frame. Let's go back to Visual Studio Code, which is going to be here. And here we're going to start importing a couple of stuff. So first, I'm going to import styled from, and here I'm going to go styled components. As you guessed it, we're going to be using styled components in this one. After that, I'm going to import icon context from React icons, and here I have lib. And I'm going to import two icons. These are going to be the fi plus, so fi plus. Then I'm going to have the fi minus from React icons and fi. There we go. This is all the imports that we need to do, so we can move forward now. Okay, this is going to be a bit difficult for me to actually write without having the whole picture. But I guess the first thing that we can do is to create our styled components. So I'm going to go right below the imports, And I'm going to first go with const accordion section. So this is going to be a styled div, and here in my styled div, I'm going to have a couple of things. And now I'm not entirely sure. Oh yeah, there we go. Styled dot div, and here I think that it's going to work. Display. No, it's not working. Okay. Well, I'm going to go now to our extensions, and here I want an extension called styled components. So I do want my IntelliSense to work, and it's not working. Oh, I actually do have it. Well, styled components snippets, VS Code styled components, highlight. It's not highlighting though. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay, it says that we have it installed. Doesn't seem to be working. So let's go back here. How about if I say styled? Style.div, there we go. Okay, and here, color. Okay, it's not working. Okay, so for some reason my IntelliSense is not working currently. I have no idea why. It says that we're running it, but let's go with display flags. And I'm going to go with position relative. Now this is going to be the accordion section that we're going to begin with, and that is why I'm having a position relative over here. Bear with me, I'm going to explain what I'm doing once we actually see it in action. I'm going to go with width 750 pixels because you remember that we have 1050 as a main frame. Then I'm going to go height 100% and margin left is going to be 35 pixels. Okay, and currently what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this, and here I'm going to say accordion section, just like that, and I'm going to say hello world, and hopefully this is going to work. Okay, there we go. So as you can see, we are starting, oops, not this, we are starting from 35 pixels over here. We have this FAQ into the middle now, and currently we're going to start building this portion over here. All right. Now I have to build the main container that I'm going to be storing below the accordion section. So the main container is going to be where we're storing the rest of the stuff. So this is going to go again above the const accordion function that we're going to be returning. So it's going to be const container. This is going to be again a styled div. And of course, the styled components, you can just do accordion.css and just copy these to the CSS file like we did over here. I'm just doing it with styled components because it is something to practice on. But to be honest, it's completely the same. So here I'm going to go with absolute position because I do want to hide stuff, and for some reason it absolute, there we go, because I am going to be hiding stuff. So whenever you are going to click on your answer on your question, then and only then you're going to be able to see your answer. I'm going to go with display flex, and it turned out like IntelliSense is working now. Oh no, it's not. I want the flex direction to be column because when I have this over here, I am going to store them one below each other. So something like this. Of course, they're going to be equal, but that's why I'm saying that I want a column over here. I'm going to take 100% of the width that's going to be allowed, which is going to be 750 pixels. And I'm going to go with a box shadow of 2 pixels, 10 pixels, 35 and 1. Now I'm going to choose this color here, but I have already explained to you how you can go into the internet and search for shadows that you like. And here we're going to have a p tag. This is the paragraph that we're going to be holding into the questions and answers. And I'm going to give it a font size of 18 pixels and the color being Alice Blue. I want Alice Blue because this is the color that we decided to use in our contact form somewhere. I do not remember where exactly we said we want the Alice. Oh, there we go. On the span tags of our forms. Okay. So now this is going to allow me to say container here, like that. And here I can say hello world to see where the container is going to be positioned. Okay, good. So as you can see, this is what we have so far. I want you to recognize that we have black color, and here we have even darker color. So you're going to be able to see this shadow over here now, right? And this kind of a line over here, as you can see, it is very small. I think it's actually looking very good, and you're going to be able to see it, I believe, now. This is how wide it is. And here we have this hello world. Of course, this is going to be this is the p tag that we have been working with. Here we're going to have a question, and once you actually click on this plus sign over here, it's going to reveal an answer. All right, and of course the answer is not going to be black, it's going to be rather green, so the user can see it more easily. All right, good job so far. We have almost everything that we want. Now, before going deeper into the container, here I'm going to say an icon context dot provider, and I'm going to provide with a certain value. Color is going to be this thing over here. Let me just type it like so. So 00FFB9, and I am going to give a certain size, so 25 pixels. There we go. And I'm going to close it like that, copy this thing over here and put it on the accordion. Now I'm going to do it like this, and it's looking very good now. So why did I actually add this icon context provider? Well, because we are having some icons importing here. We want to set the size and we want to set the values of it. This is going to be the color of the icon, and this is going to be how big the icon is. Good. Into our container, we are having data that we receive here. This is going to be the question and the answer. So I'm going to say data dot map, and I am going to say item and index. Oops, there we go. Item, then slash index. And here I'm going to do an arrow function. So I want to take the index of the current array because we're passing down an array like so. As you can see, it starts with an open bracket. So of an array of objects. And of course, on this question, I do want to provide this answer. So we need to keep track of what question are we actually having. So here I'm going to say return, and I'm going to be returning something else. I wonder if I should actually, I think I'm going to do it like this. There you go. Good. So I'm saying return here instead of making a new component, but what you can do is you can copy all of these things in the return. So pretty much everything that you take from here, you can copy and you can extract it to a new file called, I don't know, info. And here you can just replace this return with slash something like info, like that, right? But here I'm just going to go with simple return. Of course, I need another div to wrap around everything. So this is going to be the wrap. And in order for me to work with the wrap, first I need to create it. So let's go up here and actually create this div. So we're going to say const wrap. This is going to be a styled div. And here we're going to go with background. I'm going to go 27, 27, 27. Then I'm going to go color, FFF. Display, oops, not like this. Display is going to be flex. I'm very pissed that I do not have the IntelliSense. Flex direction is going to be row, but I do hope I don't make any mistakes. Justify, all right, justify content. There we go, getting the hang of it. Space between. Oh my god, what is happening? Between, space between. Then I'm going to go align items center. Then I'm going to go with 100%. Text align center. Whenever you're using justify content, in cursor pointer is, and the cursor is going to be pointer because this, actually I'm going to show you. Whenever we're having a wrap, this wrap, I want to be able to click on the whole question. So this is going to be my wrap. This div is going to be a wrap, and we are going to have a plus here. But I want to not just be able to click on the plus, but also onto the entire div section. And therefore, I am saying that the cursor is going to be a pointer. Okay, currently we are going to have header once. So let's go padding 1. rem. Font size is going to be 1 rem. And of course, the span tags, margin right, 1 rem. I think that's going to be good for now. So let's go back down here onto the return section. And here we're going to take the wrap. So I'm going to say wrap. And before wrapping it up, I'm going to give it on click. And here I'm going to say toggle. I'm going to pass the index. And of course, I'm going to give it a key that's going to be equal to index. There we go. So this function is not going to be working yet. We're going to create this. Do not worry about that. As I said, I want to be able to click on the whole div. That's why I put it in on click onto the wrapper. Good. So here I'm going to have h1, and this is going to be the item dot question. So we're going from the array, and here we have item and the current index that we're positioned in. So if you actually imagine it in a data structure manner, you're going to see that we have an array with a couple of boxes, right? Usually they are the same size. And here we're going to have one Q and one answer. Then we're going to have one Q and one answer, and so on and so forth. Right? Pretty much the same thing for all. I'm going to go and I'm going to create a header one holding our question. And of course, then I'm going to say that I'm going to have a span over here. Clicked is equal to index. Let's actually do it like so. Okay, so I'm going to say if it is actually clicked, which we're going to create. If my click is going to be equal to the current index, I'm going to say fi minus, that's IntelliSense is bugging again, fi minus, there we go. Otherwise, I am going to provide the fi plus. Okay, there we go, there we go. So if I have it click, I'm just going to produce the minus icon. If I don't, I'm just going to produce the plus icon. And of course, this is just going to be the question and the plus icon. I know it's a bit complex, sorry, but there's no way for me to show you without actually building it first. So pretty much, if I have the component tag, if I clicked on it, it's going to be minus. If I have not clicked on it, it's going to be plus. Right? That's all it is. That's all it is. So if you actually imagine it on the board over here, which we have a problem, okay, then you're just going to see that we have a question over here with a plus sign. Well, let's go like this with a plus sign. And if I click on it and this particular index is clicked, because you have to remember that we have quite a lot of these. In our case, I believe we have 6 or 7. And all of these are going to be looking like that, right? So if I click on index, the first one, because we are starting from 0, so this is going to be index 0, this is going to be index 1, this is going to be index 2. If I click on index 1, I am going to take this, put it as a minus, and these others are going to have plus, right? So that's pretty much it, what we're doing. I know it looks complex, but in order for me to demonstrate it, I first need to keep it working. Okay, and if my current clicked is the one that I have, I'm going to put it like this. Okay, and now I am going to produce a drop down. And in the drop down inside, I am going to have a p tag that I am going to store the item.answer. Right. So these dot question and dot answer, they should be the same as these thing over here, because these are the properties that we're accessing. Okay, good. So currently we have the drop down. Otherwise, what are we going to do? Well, otherwise, I am not going to do anything. So I'm going to keep it empty, just like this. Okay, it's working now. So now we have to figure out 3 things. First of all, what is a drop down? We don't know yet. And the toggle function, and of course, the clicked. And what I want to start with is probably the drop down. So let's actually go build the drop down component over here. I'm going to go with const drop down. This is going to be our styled div. This is going to be all the information that we're going to be accessing once we actually click. So I'm going to give it some background color. It's going to be a bit different. So 1C, 1C, 1C. I'm going to give a color of the inside information, so 00FFB9. the same color that we had before. Width is going to be 100% of the entirety of the div, which is going to be 750 right over here, because you have to keep in mind that this is the mother and these are the kids. I do not like the color here. What's wrong here? 00FFB9. Okay, there we go. With 100%, height is going to be 100% of what we're able to take. Display is going to be flex. Flex direction, I do want to go on the column wise. I do want to produce the answer below, and not on the left or on the right. I'm going to justify content. I'm going to place it on the center. Align items is going to be on the center as well. Then I'm going to go border bottom. I'm going to create this 1 pixel solid greenish border, FFB9, there we go, because it's going to look very nice once you actually click it. I'm going to show you what I mean. Just stay with me for this one. 00FFB9, there we go. And of course, I'm going to access the p tag saying that the font size is going to be 1REM and the color is going to be Alice Blue. Okay, good. So currently we have this. Drop down is not a problem anymore. And currently what we need to do is to take the clicked thingy. So I'm going to go inside the const accordion. And I'm going to say const clicked set clicked is going to be equal to a use state of false. There we go. So currently we do not have any problems. And of course, it's time to do something with our index. So I'm going to say toggle is going to be equal of a function that takes the index. And if clicked is our current index, I'm going to return set clicked. No. There we go. Otherwise, I'm going to set clicked our index. Okay, there we go. So if the index is matching what we've clicked, we're just going to see the drop down. Let's now go to the component and see what we have. So as you can see, we have these, and when I click it, I get this. So you can see everything else is closed. And of course, if I click on double times, I'm going to say that I'm going to go here and I'm going to say that clicked is equal to index. That's why I'm going to set clicked no. And here, of course, I'm not going to be producing any answer, because my clicked is not equal to the current index. So this is going to be the contact us page. I think it's looking pretty good. So you're going to add your information, write a couple of messages if you have any questions, but here are the most frequently asked questions. And if you want to see the answer to, can I use the images for selling and monetizing them? I'm going to click on it and I'm going to see, no, images are free to use, but not to sell and distribute. There we go. I think it's actually looking rather nice. I really like how it turned out. These are these borders here that I was mentioning. And yeah, I liked how it looked. And of course, you can make it a little bit bigger to fill on this space over here. But for now, I like how it looks. So currently, let's do a quick recap. We have the home page, landing page, the about page, and of course, the contact us page. What we're going to do in the next episode, we're going to do sign up and sign in. And of course, we're going to be wrapping up the project. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for the next one, because the other ones are going to be even more difficult and interesting. Have a good one. Bye.
Welcome to the channel. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe if you found this video useful. And if you didn't, do it anyways. Let's see what we're going to be building today, shall we? Hello everyone. Today we're going to be continuing from the AI website that we got last time. And the first thing that we need to do is to actually boost up the application to see how it's going to look. So in my current case, first I'm going to go to Frontend. I'm not going to start the server yet. Then I'm going to go to the client, and after that I'm going to say npm start. As soon as this hits, I'm going to open the localhost and we're going to see what we have. Okay, we enter up the site, and what we're going to be looking at today is the sign up and the sign in pages. This is what we're going to be building. So let's go right into it. Okay, there are a couple of things that we want to build first, because some we are doing with the actually here I added the response. We're going to be looking at this in a bit, but as you can see, some are having the home CSS and some are having the styled components. So the first thing that we want to do is in components folder, right over here, we want to create the button.js, containers.js, and input.js. These are going to be JS files that we're going to be using, and we're going to be initializing our containers over here because you've seen the sign in and sign up pages, and they're sharing some similarities behind it. And that is why here we're just going to abstract it, put it somewhere, and both the sign in and sign up page can actually use these components. So once we actually create them, let's go first into button.js and see what we're going to add there. All right, we are in button.js again, just below the components. And here the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to impose styled from, and here I'm going to say styled components. All I'm really going to do here is just create the button that's going to be wrapping the sign in and sign up page. This was going to be a little blue button that had an effect when you click it growing bigger. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to say export const, and here I'm going to name the button. So that's going to be styled, oops, sorry, not styled name, styled, and then I'm going to use button. What is this going to be? It's not going to be a div, it's going to be a button, and therefore we're going to say styled dot button and open up with this tilde symbol over here to open up a component, just like we did before. The first thing that I'm going to choose here is I'm going to give a background, and currently it's not highlighting anything. Let's fix that. I'm going to go to extensions, and here I'm going to write styled components, and I believe it's this one. Let's go install. All I really want is just to get the highlights. So let's go back here. There we go. Okay, now it's highlighting. So as we said, we're going to go with background. There we go. And I'm going to say linear gradient, and here I chose this number. So hashtag 14163C 0% is going to go from left to right, and here we're going to overflow in 217B 79%. I think that's that. If that doesn't throw an error. All right, there we go. Then I'm going to go with text transform. I'm going to transform it to uppercase. So everything in this button layout is going to be in uppercase. I'm going to give it a width of the div that it's going to be positioned in. Then I'm going to say height. And here we're just going to say the start button. After that, I'm going to build the component just so we can see it in real time, what's really happening. We do not need to have a space over here. I did it like this. This is going to be a problem. All right, I'm not going to give any border. I really build the buttons the same way in my life. I do not like borders. Border radius is going to be TRM to make it a little bit smoother. Transition is going to be 0.1 seconds. Then I'm going to say caret color, you know that I'm removing this, transparent. Cursor is going to be pointer, the same as any button. And here we're going to give it on active. It's going to give itself a little bit more height and a little bit more width, which is going to make it a bit squishy. So let's say that, I don't know how I drive here. Not how I drive, how I draw. Okay, there we go. So let's say that this is going to be a button. It's going to be with smooth edges because that's what we said. So it's going to be looking more like that. There we go. And once I actually hit it, I'm going to grow it to be a bit bigger on width and on height, which is going to be this thing over here. Now what this is going to do is just going to make the button look like it's punched. So that's that. Now we have the button.js. We have to yet finish the container.js and the input.js, but I am going to go to SignIn JSX and start building this component. All right, we are in SignIn, and I can say RAFCE. There we go, and here we're gonna say sign in. So at the moment, I've compiled everything successfully. Let's take a look how it actually looks. Here we are in the page, home, about, contact, and when I click on sign in, I'm going to see just this, which is what we expected. All right, great. Let's go back in. Here I'm going to remove this sign in, and I'm going to be importing a couple of stuff. But before doing that, I'm really just going to change what I'm returning here in the sign in. The first thing that I want to return is a main container. And actually, this thing over here, I don't know why it's... Before returning this main container, however, in order for me to just build and show you how it looks during the process, we really need to go ahead and build this container JS. And here, I'm just going to build one div, show you how it looks, then build the another, show you how that looks, and so on and so forth. Okay, this means that now we need to head on to the next thing that we have in the components, which is going to be the containers.js. So let's go in here, and the first thing that we want to do is import styled from styled components. Now we need to be building the main container. The main container is going to be the one that's having the highlights, so I cannot really compile it now. But if you go on to the project, you're going to see this area over here. You're going to see the navigation bar over here. And this thing, which I'm going to highlight in green, is going to be what we're going to be seeing, the main container. And the main container, of course, we're going to put some photo of AI-driven models, and that is how we're going to get some looks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say export const main container, and this is going to be equal a styled div. Let's go to the style div now, just going to say what the background is going to be. And I have a URL here, so let me just copy that. There we go, URL over here. And let me just make the code bigger now so you can see better. All right, ooh, so professional. Actually, I'm going to leave it like that. I think this is good. So this is just going to be simple HTTPS images. I'm going to leave the link over here just so you can copy it if you want. But keep in mind that this can be any photo that you want. It can be a photo of yourself. You have to have it in the internet somewhere so we can find it. And then you're just going to provide the URL to it. Okay, let me just see because, okay, enter. Now I'm going to give it a display flex. I'm going to go with the width. The width is going to be 100%, of course. And now I'm going to calculate a height. Now, bear in mind that whenever you're actually calculating the height, you want to have this thing over here. So I have a whole div and I have the navigation. And we have been talking about this. I want to calculate this thing over here. So this is going to be, in our case, 80 pixels. If I remember correctly, this means that my height on my current thing should be these. It should be starting from here and ending in here, right? This is how I'm going to actually have the div that I am expecting. So in order for me to do that, I'm going to calculate 100% view height. Oops, something happened here. Calc is a function. View height minus 80 pixels. This is going to provide what I want. Then I'm going to say background size. I want to cover the whole width that I have. Justify content. I'm going to place everything on the center. Align items. Therefore, is going to be center. And I'm just going to remove the colored carrot color. There we go, transparent. So now what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to try and clean the problems that we have over here. And then we're going to get to building. Okay, problems are fixed. The problem was that whenever I went to GitHub and got my own signup page, this signup page got itself the containers that we were using. And since we have not built the containers, we have problems. Anyway, now what we have is the main container. Let me just drop this down over here now. What we have is the main container. So what we want to see now is how it looks. So let's go. And this is going to be the home, about, contact, sign up is going to be empty, and it's actually going to be breaking the system. Okay, that's wonderful. So let's just refresh and let's go to sign in. And sign in is currently not having absolutely anything. So sign in is not even having a body now. Not a body, but a div, which is weird. Let's go back to Visual Studio. There we go. And in here, I have the main container, sign in. Oh yeah, there we go. We don't have anything in sign in. So the first thing we want to do is to actually place the container in sign in. So that's what we want here. I want the main container, tab, open, close, and presumably now, there we go. So let me just remove these. So let's go to home, about, contact us. I think sign up was breaking the system, so I'm not even going to click it. If you go to sign in, you're going to see this image. Now this is some random image that I found that was looking
quite decent in the internet, so I just decided to use that. So there is our main container now. The whole idea currently at the moment is to have the somewhere in the middle, like a little glass effect of a sign in form. The sign up is going to be the same thing. The whole idea behind sign up is that you have to repeat your password in order to create your account successfully. And then sign in, you're just going to use this account. Okay, let's go back. The next thing that we're going to be building is in containers, and we're going to be calling this export const glass effect. So start div, and here is where we're going to be building this effect type of glass. I'm going to show you. The first thing that I want is to have a display flex, because inside it we want to have the form. I'm going to align everything in the center, so align items in the center. I'm going to give it a flex direction, and the flex direction is going to be column. Then I'm going to give it a height. Here I'm just going to choose something that I found is working good for me. Of course, depending on the screen, if you're going to be writing media queries, you need to have to take this into account. I'm going to give it a background, which is going to be an RGBA. I'm just going to go like this. Then I'm going to give it a box shadow around it, and it's going to be looking pretty good. So 0 pixels, 8 pixels, 30 pixels, 0 RGBA. And here we're going to be choosing the color of the shadow. I went with this pink. So you feel free to copy that. Let's just close this so you can see better. Okay. Then I'm going to go with something called a backdrop filter. Now this is a very nice effect. I'm going to have a blur of 8.5 pixels. What this is doing is blurring everything behind it, and that is what's going to be looking like a glass. I'm going to give it a border radius of 10 pixels because we're having this in a button and we want to look similar. Color is going to be white. Text transform is going to be uppercase, and letter spacing is going to be 0.0 rem. There we go. So now I'm just going to go to sign in, and inside the main container I'm going to put our glass effect. And our glass effect, let's take a look how this is going to look. There we go. So as you can see, currently we're having this form, and behind the blurring over here is because of the backdrop filter. We have the color, we have the text transform over there. So everything I'm writing here is going to be in upper cases. And so far, I think it's actually looking rather nice. I want something very simple. Now I want to say what kind of a form am I actually in. So I want an initial text over here. Let's do that very quickly. So here I'm going to say export const initial text, which is going to be just a styled div. You can go with a styled span if you want. I'm just going to give it a margin, and I think that's going to be good enough. After that, I'm just going to go to sign in. Inside the glass effect, I'm going to put the initial text, and inside I'm going to say log into your account. There we go. So let's actually see how this is going to look. There we go. I think that's all right with the letter spacing, and I don't know if the exclamation mark here I like. I'm probably just going to remove it. Come on, let's not be that needy. All right, there we go. So log into your account. I think that's looking fine. Now we need to be taking care of the fields and of the button. So let's do that. Now, because we want to have inputs, first I'm going to create an input container. So I'm going to say export const, and everything here should be with the word export, because that's how the other functions are able to find these things. So export const input container, and that's going to be a styled div. Go. And inside we're going to have yet again display flex. Flex direction is going to be column wise. I'm going to have justify content space between inside it, because I just want to take, you're going to see, but the whole idea is that this input container is going to be inside the glass effect. And inside the glass effect, which is going to be this little glass form that you saw, we want to have everything tucked around. That's why we're saying space between over here. Now I'm going to align items center. I'm going to say caret color because it's going to be input. So now we're not going to put it transparent. We're going to put it on gray. Oops. I'm going to give it a height and a width. 100% of the glass effect is going to be, the input container can take 100% of the glass effect's width and only 60% of its height. Caret color is now what I was thinking is that I do not want to see the highlights on the elements, but I want to see the highlight on the input itself. So that's why the caret color is gray over here, but in order for me to not see it in the elements, I need to say that it's going to be transparent. I'm just going to leave it like that for now. Okay, now if I actually add this input container, we need to have inputs. So let's just add them. We are not going to be adding the inputs on the containers part, but rather we're going to write them in the input.js. So let's click on the input.js, and over here, we're going to be creating our input. Now I'm going to import styles from styled components, and keep in mind, I'm doing this because I just want to structurize the project in a bit more professional way, because we do not want to have the inputs in the containers.js. Okay, so here we're just going to have one styled input before we actually see how this is going to look. I'm going to say that this is going to be not a styled div, rather a styled input. Okay, and let's actually go with it. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to choose a background. I'm going to give it RGBA 0.22. Then I'm going to give it a box shadow, and the box shadows I just choose the same box shadow that I had before, so that's going to be 0 RGBA and this bluish color over here, even though I believe the transparency is not that big on the other one. Border radius is going to be 2 REM. I'm going to give it a width 80% of the 100% of the glass effect that we're taking. The height is going to be 3 REM. The padding is going to be 1. Then I'm going to go border none. Outline is still going to be none. Font size inside everything, I want them to have big enough letters. Margin bottom, because we're going to be stacking them in a column-wise way, it's going to be 20 pixels. Font weight is going to be both, or 800. You can do whatever you want. And now we're just going to do focus, because the focus is once you actually click on it. This is going to be your focus. Display is going to be inline block. And I'm going to give it a box shadow, a different box shadow. There we go. Let me just see if this is correctly. So 0, 0, 0, 0.2 REM. And then I'm going to specify the color. There we go. Backdrop filter. Backdrop filter again. Blur, and we're going to be blurring more. And then I'm going to say border radius is going to be equal to 2 REM. The last thing that we need to do is our placeholder. So I'm just going to say placeholder, just like that. And I'm going to choose a color for it, 2D, 14, 17, 1999. And for some reason, this color didn't look right. 2D. Oops, 7. I think this is going to be looking all right. Font weight, only 100, and font size is going to be 1 REM. Okay, now we have our styled input, and I can go into the SignIn. After the initial text, I can say, what was it in our container? Input container. So let's go with input container. There we go. And here, since we imported it over here, if the IntelliSense didn't work, you have to import these things over here. And here I'm going to provide the styled input. There we go. So let's actually see how this is going to look. I'm very curious how this is going to look. There we go. So if I click now, you're going to see that it is backdropping a little bit more. It's having this purplish backdrop, not backdrop, but rather border. And of course, if you write something, it's going to be dark. All right. There we go. So this is going to be on your active, and now you can actually click it and write some stuff. Great. Since this is a stout input, I am allowed to do stuff that I would be allowed in HTML for inputs, and this here is going to be type. The type is going to be text, just like this. Placeholder is going to be email, and I am after that going to write some refs. The next one is going to be password, and placeholder is going to be password. There we go. So if I go around and see this, you're going to see that it's going to be having a lovely color over here. And Google just added my items. All right, so as you can see, currently we have the space between, and this is how it's going to look. We need to add the button over here, and these things should be a little bit more together-wised, I'm going to say. And it's going to look good once I add the button. So currently we have the email and the password that we're going to be writing in the glass mirror effect. Once again, you can see that if I click, the backdrop filter on this one is going to be bigger than it is in the glass effect. All right, wonderful. Let's go back to the Visual Studio. What's left for us now to do is to add the button. Of course, before adding the button, we need to have a button container. So we're going to go to the container.js and actually start working on the button container. Again, I'm going to start with export const, and here I'm going to say button container. It's going to be equal to a style div. And let's go with the margin as a first set. Now I need to choose the width, caret color. So hard for me to say that, transparent. Display is going to be flex. I think that my line items is going to be center. My monitor is doing some crazy stuff. I hope that you're not seeing that inside the Bandicamp. Justify content is going to be center, and align items is going to be center as well. Before doing that, now we need to go to the sign in, and right below the input container, I'm going to say the button container layout. All right, so we have the button container over here, and I am going to place the styled button, which we'll have already created, and I'm going to say sign in like that. After that, we're going to have an on-click function, of course, but for now, I'm just going to leave it like that. Enter here just to split them up, and let's now see how this is going to look. All right, so at the moment, you can see that it's looking quite dorky. So let's see how to fix that. Okay, so I found something here. I want the button container and start button to be inside my input. We said that we are going to have space between inside this input container, which was going to be this justify content over here. And of course, I need to have the buttons inside the inputs. So here, I'm just going to place the button container. I'm going to press tab some time, and that is how we should be looking now. There we go. And now if I go here, you're going to see that we're looking quite better. The only thing really is left for the button to be like this, and once we click it, to spread out a little bit. And for some reason, currently it is just a circle. So this is the next thing that we need to find. And for that case, I'm going to go to where I declared the styled button, which is in button.js. And here somewhere we have a problem. Okay, one thing that I see that I forgot is that I want to have a letter spacing of 0.2 rem, and that is going to make it a little bit wider, as you can see, but still not the result that I'm looking for. So let's go back and see what else we're missing. And there it is. Width is 65. It has to be 65%. That way, when I go, you're going to see this. And this is going to be our login form. Currently, when I click on it, you can see that it is going a little bit wider and a little bit taller. So it is very nice and cool effect when you click it. So let's now see, we have the home, we have the sign in, the contact us, the about, and what we're left is the sign up page, which is currently crashing our application. So F5 to reload here, and It seems that this time we haven't fixed it just by pressing F5. So let's open the localhost again. And this, of course, works. Okay, good. So let's get the sign up page next. So let's head on to the Visual Studio, go to the sign up, and here, as you can see, we have to say RAFCE, and this time the application, once we have that, is not going to simply just crash. It is still going to render our navigation bar here, and the sign up is the only page that we have to fix. So let's go back to the Visual Studio Code, and this one is going to be rather simple now because we already have what we need, or at least most of the stuff. The first thing that I want to say is the main container. Again, we want to have the same effect. I want to keep it as similar to the sign-in page as possible. The only difference that we're going to have is here we're just going to say set up an account or create your account. We're going to have 3 fields, one to repeat your password, and of course the sign up instead of sign in. But the whole idea is that we want the same vibe, the same kind of vibe once you're actually sign in and sign up. We want the same thing. Once you actually sign, then we're going to move on to the other stuff. I believe we're going to create a new video for that, just because this one got a little bit longer. Actually, if I wonder if you actually like the videos being long, because looking at the visual analytics, I can see that they have more watch time and they have more views. So probably you prefer longer videos. I'm not sure. So let me know in the comments. Next thing, we're going to go with the glass effect. Again, this is the same thing, the same kind of vibe as you can see over here. Pretty much the same thing. We built the components. That's the reason, by the way, that we actually set up the components over here on button, container, and JS. Because we really wanted to reuse them. Now you actually see the way we are going to be reusing them. So the glass effect, now we need to say initial text, and here we're going to say create your account. So you can do whatever you want here. After that, we need to say the input container, just like that, and to have different inputs. So I'm going to say styled input currently, and for some reason I think that caps lock, oh no, okay. Styled input, and I'm going to close it here, copy it 3 times, because you remember we want to have the password twice. The first one is going to be type, and this is going to be email, and the placeholder is going to be email. After that, we're going to pass some refs, and I'm going to copy this, paste it here 2 times with password as the type, because this is going to be password, the HTML tag to put some little dots on the password. You know how it hides your password. And here I'm going to say password, and of course repeat password. There we go. All right. Remember, inside the input container, I was still going to make the mistake. Inside the input container, we want to put, I always forget to move that. We want to put the buttons inside the container. So inside the input container, I'm going to say my button container. And inside my button container, I am going to put my styled button. There we go. And it's going to say sign up. There we go. Easy and simple. Of course, something that I want to do, let's first see how this is going to look. And it's actually looking rather nice. So there is the sign up, the sign in, and you can see that they are the same thing. It's just the same form with 3 fields. It's looking very neat, very decent. It's still having these effects over here when you write on it, when you clear it. It's just looking very nice. One thing that I want to do is to add a little line over here, just so I can separate these, and I'm going to do the same for sign in and the same for sign up. So let's go back to my Visual Studio, and here in the container.js, I am going to create something that I'm just going to call, I don't know, horizontal. That is going to be a simple line. So I'm going to start again the same, export const, and I'm going to say horizontal. This is going to be equal to a styled HR. We want the styled break line, and here I'm just going to give it a 90% width just to make it a little bit more fashionistic, I would say. Border radius is going to be 0.8 rem. Then I'm going to say border none. I'm going to give it some margin, so 0, 1 rem, and 0. I'm going to give it a background, which is going to be a linear gradient. I'm going to give the same what we gave before. And so here we need to provide the colors. So let me just see, what is this? Yeah, here we need 3. Go. So from this, we're gonna make a linear gradient to this one, and 79%. Okay, I think that's going to be looking pretty dope. And of course, I'm just going to give it a backdrop filter as we did before, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. So, oh, for some reason I already have the horizontal here. Okay, do we really write it? Okay, well, I'm going to leave it like that. So the horizontal is going to be this line that we're going to produce. Where I'm going to produce it in the SignIn right below the button container. I'm going to say horizontal, and it's just going to be a simple line. So the SignUp, the same thing, right below where we did put it, button container. Oh no, right below the input container. There we go. This is where I would want it. Yeah, and the same is going to go here. Okay, we shouldn't be having any problems. Let's see what the problem is. So let's that horizontal is not defined. Oh yeah, so IntelliSense didn't work here. Okay, let's just say horizontal tab, and it should be all right. Compiled successfully. There we go. Okay, good. So let's see how this is going to look now. Boom. And actually, yeah, I don't want this line. You can see this linear gradient over here. You can see it starting from dark blue, ending to a light bluish color. But yeah, I don't want it here. I want it here. So I guess we're gonna put it right above the button container. How is this going to look? I don't even see it. Okay, let's go here. Horizontal, right below the button. If I do it like that, yeah, the only way I can see it. You know what the problem is? Whenever I inspect, we stop seeing this. But what I'm going to do currently is I'm just going to leave it right below the input container because I cannot currently inspect. So I'm going to leave it like this, just this simple line over here. But if you want, now I do not know how to inspect and start recording again for some reason. It's making problems, but what you can do is you can just see why you're not searching this div. Now, what I suppose is that we need to go here and put a Z index. So how about if I go here, I'm on the container and I say Z index, let's put something big, and let's put the horizontal inside right over here. This is on the sign up page. Sign up. Still, I'm not seeing it over here. I do expect it to be over here. So for some reason, it's not showing up. Okay. And now it's going to be down. Okay. Okay. I think it might be either because of the stout input over here, blocking the view, because we haven't given margin and it's just losing itself over here. But for now, I'm just going to leave it down here because it's still looking rather nice and I actually kind of like the way it looks. Okay. Well, this is it for today's video. In the next video, we're now going to add the complete functionality. So sign up and sign in is going to work. We're going to add the input containers over here, and we're going to visualize the image with AI. So the next video is actually going to be the last one that we have on this project. Congratulations on getting so far. I hope you liked it. I find this to be very neat. I like it. I like how it looks quite a lot. And I will see you guys into the next one. Goodbye. Okay, hello everyone. Now we're going to be finishing up the sign up and the sign in functionality. And after that, we're going to go to home to actually get the images. We're going to be starting up with sign up. So let's open Visual Studio and get right into it. I believe it's this one. And as such, let's actually close these. Okay. For some reason I have to, probably screwed up a little bit when I was forking into GitHub. I think it's this one. Let's see. Yeah, all right, sign up. Now we're gonna be finishing up the sign up first because we need to be able to create an account. Also, I did start the server for some reason. Node index. Okay, there we go. Now it's looking better, and if we do this, it's going to go with the green. This is some problem in Visual Studio Code. Okay, good. So currently what we're going to be having is in sign up, when we're clicking the button, which is going to be the styled button over here that we did, I'm going to add an on click, and I'm going to say handle sign up. There we go, just like this. But let's type it correctly. So handle sign up. This is going to be the function that I'm going to call, and that's pretty much everything. So let's go up. I'm going to close like this. And here in my sign up JSX, I'm going to write the sign up function. So we called it handle sign up, and that's going to be equal to an async function. We're going to do like so. And there are a couple of things that we need to be thinking about, because you remember that inside styled input over here, email, password, and repeat password, we're actually having information that we need to forward to the server. Now, if I go to the server real quick, I'm going to go to not source, not here, backend, index, and inside index, because we've built this a long time ago, we need to take care about the user route, which is going to be routes and users. So let's go to users, and here we have register, and I believe only login. There we go. So we're going to be calling this. So we need to generate the password, we need the request body password, and also we need the request body email. So these are the two things that we're going to be needing in order to create a user and save it into the DB. Now let's go back and do the sign up. So these are the two things, the email and the password, that we need to take into consideration. So let's add a couple of hooks currently. Email ref, that's going to be equal to a use ref, that's going to be first initialized. Do not know. Password ref, that's going to be equal to use ref, that's going to be no. We do not need to add these. And I'm going to say repeated password ref, that's going to be equal to use ref, initialized at no, and do not forget to import use ref. So here import use ref from React. Okay, whenever we're actually having a reference over here, we do need to say what this email ref is going to be pointing at. So for us to do that, we need to find the email. And after the placeholder, I'm going to say ref, that's going to be equal to our, and in the curly brackets, I'm going to say email ref. As you can see, it's found over here. This is indicating this reference over here. Of course, you guessed it, we need to do the same for the other ones. So let's go, the password over here is going to be referenced by the password ref, and the password again is going to be equal. Ref is going to be the repeated password. There we go, good. So these are all the things that we need to do. Let's hide that. And currently, whenever you're typing on something and you press on the button, it's going to be stored by this reference. We can handle it, and we can actually take the data from this reference over here. All right, let's now go into handle sign up. And the way we're going to do that is that first we need to make sure that the password is matching. So we're going to say if password ref dot current dot value is not equal to our repeated password dot current dot value, we are going to be producing an error. And of course, we're going to say to the user that he needs to actually have the password being equal to both of the fields. Now, how are we actually going to produce these errors? We're going to be using Toast for that, but I'm going to show you in a bit. Let's first finish it. Otherwise, it means that the password values have matched over here, and now we can create the new user. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to say const new user, and that's going to be equal to an object that has email as email ref current value, and password as password ref dot current dot value. There we go. So now we have actually created this new user that we can send to the backend. You remember that we needed the email and we needed the password. So now we have that. What we're going to be doing now is try, and then I'm going to say await axios.post. And here I'm going to be posting to where? To users, register, and I'm going to give new user. There we go. So here I'm just going to say produce a success notification if everything, of course, succeeded. And otherwise, I'm just going to catch the error over here and I'm going to produce a fail notification. There we go. So currently that is that. And the only problem that we might have, and I'm not entirely sure if we actually did it, is how am I going to know that I'm going to head to the right user's register? And for this, we're going to be using a proxy. Now, I'm not sure if we actually said that, so let's see it together. Now, inside our package JSON over here, we're going to go down, and here we have the proxy. So we have actually set it up. Now, the proxy is going to initialize my request from the Axios to this thing. So I'm going to say HTTP localhost 5000 API, and after that, I'm actually going to be appending the user's register. Now, if I go to the backend, you're going to see index that we are starting at port 5000. So that's going to be localhost 5000. And after that, we're using this API users. So we're going to have API. And finally, we need users. As you can see with this one over here, we're using the user route. And inside our users route, we are having the /register. So everything seems to be correct. Let's go back because I need to delete this comment over here. And now we're going to go back to the sign up. So users register and we're passing the new user. Now, it is actually good to take care of the notifications first, because here we're actually producing a success notification. And to do that, we need toast. Now, I'm not entirely sure if we have toast. I think that we installed it, but let's check. The way the toast works is that first, in order for us to have notifications on the screen, we actually need to produce a valid box where these notifications are actually going to go. So inside our app.js, where we have the routes, here we have the toast container. There we go. So this is going to be our toast container. This is bottom center, and inside the bottom center, we're going to be producing the results. However, I do believe that this came from the fork of my GitHub. So let's write it together. And for this reason, I'm just going to say here, toast container, and let's do it like this. There we go. Okay, so toast container is going to be what we actually use to produce the notifications. And if you do not have toast, you can do the following. Here is their website actually. So let's put it over here. And you can just say npm install react toastify. After that, you can read over here. I'm going to provide you with the link, but it's a very cool library that allows you to do such notifications like this one. So as you can see, quite a lot of weekly downloads. All right, and the way we're going to do that is we need to import these two. So we're going to be importing the toast container and toast from React Toastify once you actually install it from here. So npm install React Toastify. And you need to import the CSS because otherwise you cannot style it. After that, you're just going to create the toast container. And once the toast container is existing, you can send information to this toast container from your app. Anywhere from your app, any component. And that's how you're going to produce this. Now I'm going to leave this on the screen just if we need it, in case we need it. Let's go to app and see how we're going to go around with the toast container. So the first thing that I want to say is to give a position to my toast container, and this is going to be bottom center. You can choose any position. If you're going into these websites, you can put it on the left corner, right corner, left to bottom corner, and so on and so forth. But of course, I'm just going to go on the center bottom part. Okay, I'm going to say auto close. How many seconds do I need to wait before? Let me just delete this and start the client. Let's start it later. How many seconds do I need to wait before actually removing these notifications? They will be removed automatically, but they have a progress bar. Now I do not want this progress bar, so I'm just going to say hide progress bar, false, true, sorry. When it's true, they are not going to show this bar. Now I'm going to show you over here. You can see this bar over here, and it's actually disappearing. You can of course hide that if you want it, or let's actually leave that just so we can see that it's 4 seconds. Now I'm going to say newest on top. It's going to be false. After that, I'm going to say close on click. So they should be closed whenever you left click on them. I think that works with left click. RTL is something that I just personally use because I like how it looks. Pause and focus loss. I'm going to say draggable, make it friendly for an iPhone and for a phone, because you can just hold left click and drag them, or of course drag them with your thumb on a phone. Pause on hover, just so whenever you hover on them, they pause. And I'm going to say theme is going to be equal to dark. Good. So currently we have a toast container inside our application. This means that we can actually send different information to it. And I'm going to go back to SignUp JSX. And inside over here, I am going to produce a success notification. So this is going to be registered success. This is going to be the function that I'm going to be calling, and here produce a fail notification. I'm going to say register failed. So these are two functions that we're going to be creating up over here. So right above the sign up component over here. And I'm going to say first const register success. And I'm actually going to copy the name just to be sure that everything is going to be smooth. There we go. And this is going to be equal to a function that's going to say toast from Toastify dot success, and I'm gonna say account created successfully. I hope I write this right. After that, I'm going to be producing const matching pass error, and this is going to be produced whenever we are actually not having matching passwords. So over here on these refs not matching. I'm going to say toast warning, and the warning is going to be passwords should match. There we go. And finally, I'm going to create this register failed. So I'm going to say const register failed, and this is going to be equal to a toast error, because it's going to produce a red, sort of like a warning, but then in red color with different icon. And we're going to say failed creating an account. There we go. Good. So, oops, register failed though. Should be register failed. And matching pass error should be inside this if. There we go. Good. Now we're actually going to try it. So remember that we're having logging from the server part. You can always open up the server. Server is running, connected to the DB, and inside the client, I'm just going to say npm start. Now this is going to produce the local host again, but I'm having it over here. There we go. Sign up. If I say 1234444, sign up. And currently I do not have anything from Toast. Let's write an email as well. So I'm just going to say test2, and here I'm going to have test2, test1. So sign up. Probably nothing happened. So let's see. Server, nothing went to the server. Okay, I wonder why Toast isn't working. Let's type a console log here. Passwords are not matching. There we go. And if I F12, press F12 here. All right, F12. If I go to the console, we have a lot of things. WebSockets failed. These WebSockets are from before though, I believe. So let's reload. Active style, React is not recognizing this. And some logo PNG, that's not a problem. And we're using the following icons. Okay, let's say 1234444, sign up. Passwords are not, oh, there we go. There is the Toast. So for some reason, now it actually re-rendered and worked. Let's go with test2 and test1 as passwords, so sign up. And there we go. There is this thing that we're talking about here. Let's close this now. Passwords are not matching. All right, and you can see the bar. You can also scroll it. So if I say test2 and test2 here, sign up, account created successfully. So as you can see, now we actually have an account. If I go to the server, you're going to see that registering a user has been successful. Now, if we go to the database, we're going to be finding it. But currently, we are ready with the sign up page and we want to be able to sign in. Okay, now toast is defined but never used. So there was some problem with re-rendering. That's all right. Everything works now. Let's go to sign in. Okay, we are in sign in now, and the first thing that we need to do is inside the style button, we need to give it a function that's going to play out whenever we are actually trying to log in. So I'm going to call this handle login on click, and this is going to be the function that it's not yet created. So inside our component, we're going to say const, and the function name was handle login. Let me just put it like this. Handle login, and this is going to be equal to an async function. Async func. There we go. And again, what we need to do is we need to take the email and the password. We need to provide them with that. So the backend server is going to decrypt them. And the way we're going to be extracting a password, of course, is going to be by saying const email ref. Again, we're going to be using refs here. Use ref. Not user. Use ref. There we go. And that's going to be equal to no. Const passref is going to be equal to use ref. There we go. And that's going to be equal to no. We'll leave these, even though it's actually a good and proper way to write them, but it doesn't matter. And I think actually we're going to say let navigate equal to use navigate, because I do want us to reroute successfully once we actually have an account. Good. So inside handle login, we need to be taking this email and ref and pass. Oh yeah, also before doing that, we need to say here that we are gonna have the reference. So ref is gonna be equal to email ref, and here ref is going to be equal to password passref. Is that how we called it? Passref. There we go. All right. The same thing we're going to do, we're going to be providing the new user inside the body to the request. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to say const new user. That's going to be equal to an object that has email as email ref.current.value. And the password, that's going to be equal to passref.current.value. Now, it's very important that we have email and password exactly the same way written, because in the backend, we're going to be searching once we're logging in as request.body.email, and after that request.body.password. So whenever we're actually providing this object, we need to be sure that it has email and password. So it's very important inside the request body. And yeah, just keep in mind that these things are matching here, because otherwise you're probably going to have problems. Not probably, surely. All right, try. We're going to say const user, and that's going to be equal to await axios, the post. And we're going to be posting where to users, login, and we're going to be providing the body with the new user that we actually created. So whenever we're actually posting to login, we need to make sure that this is going to be the right thing. So users inside here, you can see router.post/login, and it is users route. So of course users/login. Okay, find a specific user. You can see that we actually return the user as a JSON once we found it successfully. That is why here we're having const user equal to await axios post. We are going to be taking something and we're going to be receiving inside user. I don't have any problems. I'm just going to provide us with a success login, and this is going to be a toastify function. Then I'm going to say let path equal to about, and I'm going to forward us to the about page once we logged in successfully. And then I'm going to say navigate, and I'm going to navigate to about. Also, in order for this to work, I'm going to say here replace true, which is going to be replacing the current URL. However, if I catch a problem, I need to produce a failed for login. And I'm going to say failed login, just like this. Now we need to be creating these two functions, and up over here, just above the sign in, I'm going to say const success login. That's going to be equal to a function that is going to say toast.success, and I'm going to say success logging to account. There we go. And of course we need to say failed login. So that's going to be equal to this toast.error, and I'm going to say failed logging to account. All right, that is wonderful. Let's now refresh, go to our React, which is going to be over here. Change password. Okay, do not save it, please. So we signed up with test2. If I go to the server now, you're going to see that last registering a user was actually successful. So let's now go to sign in and try to say test2 and give test2 as a password here, sign in, and there you go. As you can see, we're currently signed in. Of course, inside home, everything looks the same. So currently we just have a bit of problems because we're not saving this user. So the application does not know that you're actually signed in. But as you can see, everything works. If I give the proper things, I'm going to say signed in over here, success logging into account. And remember, we are actually forwarding. So this is very important. Oops, not this, Control Alt D, I believe. We are actually signing in and we're forwarding to this URL over here. So we're forwarding to the about page. Now everything works, which is going to be great. Everything works. What we need to do now is we need to go to the whole application and actually make it understand that we are a user, a valid user who logged in. Whenever we have a valid user, we should be removing these. So we should be removing the sign up and we should be changing the sign in. Also, the home is going to have different view. It's going to allow us to actually go and code the OpenAI to produce some picture. So this is the next steps. Let's go back to the Visual Studio. As you can see here in the server client, in the server part, we have logging to a user and it was successful. Again, Visual Studio has this bug. Oh, and it seems like it's not fixed. There we go. Yeah, this is a bug of Visual Studio, but whatever, bugs do occur. Good. So now we're actually having a sign in, and what's important for us to know is that we are actually having the user come in here. Now, what we need to do is to find a way for the whole application to know that we have the user. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to pass inside over here in sign in, we're going to be passing a method that's going to allow us to set the user. And this will trigger a refresh to every single page that depends on the user. Now, in order for us to do that, first we need to go to our app.js. And inside our app.js, I'm just going to put this. Const user, set user equal to use state and no. After that, whenever we're actually trying to trigger refresh, we're going to say that sign in is going to be equal to set user equal to set user. I'm going to write these. Again, sorry that these have appeared over here. I'm going to go back to normal. It is just that, yeah, when you ever fork something from the GitHub, these things tends to happen. So now when we have this const user, set user equal to use state no, firstly, we need to provide it to the navigation bar. And we're going to say just navigation bar. You're going to have problems now, but it doesn't matter because we're going to be fixing them. In the navigation bar, we need to trigger a refresh between the sign in and log out button. So here we're just going to say user. I'm going to pass user just like this. And also I want to pass the set user, and it's going to be equal to set user function over here. So this is something like the context that we have. Instead of Redux, we're going to do it this way. And this is a problem that Redux solves, but we're going to be talking about Redux in a different video. So think about which pages are going to change when you have a user. Obviously the navigation bar, because now we want to be able to log out. And also we should be hiding the sign up, right? So the navigation bar has to know about the user. What else needs to know about the user? The homepage, because we're allowing only users to see and attend the video creation, the PNG creation, right? So I need to know inside the homepage if I have a user. So I'm going to pass it as a prop over here. And of course, inside in, I also want to know the user, not the user, but to use the function that set user, because in SignIn, it is where we're actually getting the new user from the database. And here I'm just going to set it up. So of course, in SignIn, I'm going to say set user, and that's going to be equal to set user. There we go, just like this, passing it as a prop. Let's now go into SignIn. And inside here, I need to take set user as a prop over here. Of course, where am I going to use it? Only over here, set user, and I'm gonna set this user over here. We're not going to keep it as a cookie, meaning that every time you actually refresh, you're going to be logged out and you need to sign in again. Usually we pass cookies and we pass a token that we keep in the cookies and keep the session. But again, do not worry about this. This is a bit more advanced. We're going to be taking a look in future videos about this. Good. So currently we are able to set the user. The first thing that I want to do is to change the navigation bar. Okay, this is what we have so far. We have the user, we have the set user over here, and we're talking with the user. So we have built this. And now what we need to be doing is the following. So here, if we do not have the user, I'm going to say sign in, but if I have, I'm going to have this logout button, right? So nav button link logout, and we have these functions that we need to do. And after that, we're going to show the menu. All right. So we have this show menu variable over here as well. And we're going to do the following. Now I did delete this over here, so I'm going to rewrite it again. Const, and here I'm going to say show menu and set show menu. That's going to be equal to use state, and I'm going to say false. So the menu is not going to be rendered over here. Let's actually close this over here so we can make it, I want it to be smaller. So let's go with enough. There we go. All right. Also, we need to say the handle click menu. So I'm going to say const handle click menu. And that's pretty much just going to change the show menu to false or to true. So I'm going to say set show menu. And that's going to be equal to not show menu. So the first time if I click it, it's going to be true, then it's going to be false, then it's going to be true. This is how we're going to handle this. After that, we need to say const handle logout, and that's going to be setting the user to no, because we're passing the set user over here from the navigation bar. We already know that. And logout success. We need to provide the information that the logging out is going to be successful. Now here, I'm just going to say const logout success. There we go, like toast warning, and I'm gonna say logout from account just to let the user know. Good. So currently we have one error. I do want to fix this before moving on forward. Style is fine. Okay, so inside show menu, oh yeah, we didn't have styles. So here on these icons that we have, so let me just create a style real quick over here. Just going to use this one. Now, actually, you can do whatever you want over here. That's why I didn't really show it. Here, I'm just adding some icons. And then I'm saying, for example, settings, help, license purchases. In the previous thing, we did only the p tags, but now I just decided to do icons, but you can place whatever icons you like. It's not that important. So you albums short. Here I am just using these React icons. Actually, what I can do is I can just I will be providing you with the GitHub repo, so you can always go and you can see. But yeah, these are just from React icons, and you can say npm install and then React icons, and then you're going to be having these things over here, the high bars and so on and so forth. So you are just going to place them over here if you'd like. And of course, you can choose a random style. I just gave them what kind of a color, font size, and a margin to the right I want for every item. So now that we actually have the navigation bar, the next thing that we want to do is the home, but I'm not going to touch the home because it's going to blow, I believe. So here I'm just going to delete these, or at least I'm going to comment. Oh no, yeah, let's delete that. All right, now I do have it on my, oh, not here on the navigation bar, sorry, on the home. We're just going to delete the user. So currently what we have the sign in setting a user. So we have the sign in setting a user over here, and the set user is going to trigger a refresh because the navigation bar actually is taking a user, so it is depending on it, and it is going to trigger a refresh on the navigation bar. So as soon as we sign in, we are expecting to remove the sign up and to see the logout button. Of course, whenever we actually log out from the navigation bar itself, we are setting the user to no, and that is what's going to re-trigger a refresh and actually again see the sign in and the sign up buttons. And here I forgot, oh no, I did not forget, logout success. Okay, good. Let's now go and open the local host home. I'm going to refresh everything, and I'm going to say sign in, test 2, sign in, and as you can see, boom, that is how we do it. Currently, what you can see is that sign up is missing over here. There is the logout button over here, and there is this little thingy over here that we actually built, which is our menu. So once we actually click it, you're going to see these. Probably you're not going to see the icons, but it doesn't really matter because you're still going to see this menu. If you click it again, it's going to make it either to false or true, so to the backward. And of course, you can now open and close this menu. Home is still going to be the same, but we do not want home to be the same because currently we have a user. As you can see, we don't have sign up, we don't have sign in, and we have a logout. If I click the logout, you can see that it's removing the user over here and it's bringing up sign up and sign in again. All right, good. So let's actually sign in again just because I like how it looks. It looks very nice. I do not want to change my password, mate, but thank you. All right, good. We have account. What is final for us to do is to do something about the home page. This is what we're going to be doing now. So let's go back to Visual Studio, just like this. And inside our app.js first, I want to provide the home with the user. I do want home to know about this user. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say user equal, and I'm passing it as a prop user. There we go. Whenever we actually use set user from any other function below the mother, we are actually going to go here and refresh the home, refresh the navigation, and refresh the sign in, because it has the user over here. All right, good. So what's left for us to do is the home. Yeah, there we go. Let's go to home. Okay, so this is where we left off before. We have the main container, and if we do not have a user, we're saying these images, get started, and main container, and here we have the containers. Now, what we need to do now is to say what is going to happen if I actually have a user. So right below these curly brackets over here that are taking responsibility of rendering something when we do not have a user, I'm going to say if we have a user. So I'm going to open a new one, and I'm going to say user, and here I'm going to open these, open that, and I'm going to display different things. So the first thing that I want to have is to have an image container. And the image container is something that we should be creating. So let's go down over here and specify an image container. So what the image container is going to be is the place where actually we're going to be, oopsie, not good. There we go. There we go. So the image container is going to be the same as the main container, but we just need to specify like a board where the images are actually going to be. So I'm going to say const image container on all over here, and it's going to be a styled div. All right, so I'm going to give it a position absolute. I'm still going to be absolute. There we go. I'm still going to be positioning it at the center. Display is going to be flex. Then we're going to have flex direction, which is going to be column. Go like that. I'm going to say top is going to be 0. Width is going to be taking 100% of what we can. And I'm going to be calculating something because you remember that we have 80 pixels for our what was it, a navigation bar, and we need to take this into consideration when we're applying the height. I'm going to give a background color. I can give it red for us to see it, actually. That is what I can do. Yeah. Why not, baby, for you? Yeah, had to be a rapper. All right, do I want to see that? No, I'm actually going to remove it. You're going to see everything in action. Overflow is going to be hidden. So whenever the AI produces an image, it might be 500 pixels or 485. We want to cut everything that's going to be overflown. Now, inside the image container, we're going to be holding an image, and the image is going to be width 100% of the container, height 350, and object fit is going to be equal to cover. So these are going to be all of the images inside our image container. Now, when we actually have this built, whenever we have a user, that's what the user is going to see first. Is going to see the image container. Inside the image container, I do want to provide an image. So I'm going to say this image over here, boom, like that. So this is going to be a some sort of an image that I found. So if you can always go and search for this image on the internet. And it's just something that I liked quite a lot. So this is what the user is going to see. I want to change the image, and yeah, currently we are logged in as a user. So as you can see, this image is over here. If I say log out, boom, you see this image. If I go to get started and I log in successfully, now I have a user, and when I go to the home page, you're going to see this image. Do you see? So now we have the user, and we're actually changing the image. All right, let's go back to Visual Studio now. That's going to be good. Now, what I want now is to say the get started image container. And I'm going to make it over here. Now, the get started is actually going to be the board and the white section that we are going to do. Of course, I'm going to show you while we're building. Let me just see where it is. All right, I might type it. Yeah, let's go below here. So const get started image contain. Oh, come on, get started image container. There we go. Style div. And what this is going to be, let me just go back. Where is it? Over here. What this is going to be, whenever we're actually having a user over here, we do want to have this board just like that, right? And or you can type something over here, and then you are going to produce an image, let's say over here, right? And this is what we are trying to build currently. Now with these start components, it's difficult to build and show at the same time, but I'm going to give my best. Position is going to be absolute. There we go. Display is going to be flex. Oh, come on. There we go. Then I'm going to go left 0. All right. Cannot type. Left 0, right 0. There we go. Margin left is going to be auto. Always important when you're using absolute positions and you're specifying left and right. Let me just go a little bit down so we can see better. There we go. Margin right, as we said, very important to be auto. There we go. Top, I'm going to say 1%. Flex direction is going to be column because, as I said, we're saying that we want to have the board where we're going to be typing over here. So here we're going to say type. Okay, that's very ugly. Here we're going to say type. And after that, we're going to say that here, or let's say here, we're going to have the image being produced. So the image is going to pop in here, and you're going to put your input over here, right? This is going to be the input, and this is going to be the image produced. That's what we're trying to build. And the flex direction is going to be column. Align items is going to be, of course, center. And whenever we want to center something, we're using justify content as well. What kind of letters we want to use, color of letters we want to use, white. Text align, I'm also align. I also want to use center over here. Font size, here you can do whatever you want. I'm going to go with 18 pixels. I don't even know if that's going to be looking good. I think it will. Height is going to be 20, view height. Then I'm going to go with font weight, something a bit more bold. I'm going to give it a width. I'm not going to give it all the width. I just want to keep it a bit shorter. We're not going to be using a lot of big images. So background, RGBA, and I'm just going to provide this value over here, which is the same value that we had blackish value that we had before. After that, I'm going to give it a box shadow, and I'm just going to give the same 0, 12 pixel, 32, 0, and here I'm going to provide this color, just like that. Of course, you can click on that and change the color that you like. Backdrop filter, we're still keeping this glass effect, and I'm going to give it a blur of 15 pixels. Very good. Border radius, I do want it to be smooth on the edges, so I'm just going to give it around 10 pixels, see how that looks. Color, white smoke. We actually have white over there. I'm just going to leave it with white smoke. Text transform. I want everything to be uppercase, just do not worry about it. It doesn't really matter to me. Letter spacing, 0.3 REM. And inside, we're going to be having a button, right? We mentioned that, of course, you're going to put your input somewhere, then to produce the image over here. But we also need to have a button to say when your input is done and when you're actually going to put something to the backend. So I'm just going to say text transform to the button. I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm going to go uppercase and margin top. I'm going to give 20 pixels. So this is going to be our get started image container. And let's just go back up over here. Go get started image container, open, close. And here I'm going to say describe your image. There we go. And I'm going to give it an AI image input. So let's actually see how this is going to work. Boom, there we go. So as you can see, this is whenever we have a user, you should be describing your image, and we're going to be producing an input over here. So let's actually go now, and I'm going to say AI image input. So this is going to be, again, a new component, styled component over here. I'm going to say const AI image container. It's going to be equal to a styled div. Here I'm going to give it a position absolute all the way. Display is going to be flex, left is going to be equal to 0, right is going to be equal to 0, margin left and right is going to be auto. Probably there's an easier way to do that, but I really do not know. Bottom, I'm going to give 1% over here. Put it down a little bit. Flex direction is going to be align items, center, justify content center. Font size, I think we can actually copy a bit from above, but yeah, let's just go writing, and repeat is the mother of knowledge. So height 65, view height, because we want to have a bigger view height on this image input container. Font weight, I'm still going to go, font weight, I still want to go with something a bit bold. You can go with 800 as well. Width is going to be 60 view width. Background, I'm going to go with the same 255, 255, 255, and I'm just going to boost it up a notch. So here we had 15, and here we're just going to have 25, just to keep things a bit interesting. Box shadow, 5 pixels, 6 pixels, 55 pixels, 0, and this color over here. This is something that I found from the internet, because you can go and you can ask internet for amazing shadows, and you can actually test. Let me just go and show you this, because this is interesting. Can I just find something? Yeah, there we go. So there is this beautiful box shadows, and you can just see something that you like, click on it, copy it, and after that you can just come here and paste it. And as you can see, it's going to produce a beautiful box shadow. So yeah, I'm not just a plain old genius, even though I am. I cannot really just think these shadows so quick. It's something that I copied from the internet. Backdrop filter. Now I'm going to give here blur 1 pixel. So it's going to be very subtle, very slight. I'm also going to give a 1 pixel solid slate blue border around my container. Again, I'm going to use the same border radius of 10 pixels to smooth on the edges, and I'm going to provide the color white. I'm going to transform all of the text to uppercase to keep it consistent, and I'm going to give it a letter spacing of 0.4 REM. Now inside, we're going to be having an image, so I need to say how the image is going to look. And I'm just going to go over here. Image, I want to use 100%, border radius 8 pixels. There we go. So this is going to be for our AI image container. And actually, let's build also the AI image input, because this is the last thing that we're going to do. And it's going to be easier for us to understand what is going on. So AI image input. This is going to be equal to style input. And now this input over here is going to be the one that we're actually going to use to write the data. So display is going to be naturally flex. Outline is going to be none, because I hate outlines on inputs. I'm going to give it a nice, smooth and sexy border. So 2 pixels solid black. I'm going to give it some margin on the top. So top it off with an extra spice. Padding is going to be 5 pixels. I'm going to give background none. I really do not want anything. White smoke to keep it consistent with the previous color. I'm going to give it a border radius. Let's go twice as low, 5 pixels. Width 85%. Height, I'm gonna go with 30 pixels. Font weight, again, a little bit bold, 600. And I want to say placeholders, how the placeholder is going to look. I'm just going to give it a nice color. That's going to be C7, 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 88. There we go. And yeah, that's it. Let's actually go back now here to get started image container and describing our image, since I don't think that we have anything else to do. And I'm going to say, just like this, AI image input. All right, open, close. Also here, I'm going to say special button. There we go. I'm going to open, close. It's going to be generate image. So that's going to be the name. And the function is going to be on click handle image creation. There we go. We're going to be creating this function. Now, actually, I'm going to create this function now. I'm not going to do anything. It's just that I want to see how it looks. So I'm just going to say const handle image creation. That's going to be equal to unasync func. That's not really doing a lot. My AI image input is not defined. However, oh yeah, it's big I here. So we have to fix this. And can we look at it now? Sign in, test two, sign in, home. Let's go home. Yeah, all right. Currently it's not going to do anything. But I really do not know why it's not just showing us the button. Should I just probably should I go and fix that? Oh no, actually I'm not. I don't want to put the button over here. I want to have the AI image just like this. But inside, this is going to be our placeholder. My mistake. So placeholder is going to be enter an image description, just like that. And I'm gonna give it, since we're gonna be sending this thing to the backend, I'm gonna also say ref text ref. And you guessed it, whenever we're having that, we need to go up, and we're going to say that we're going to have a ref. So const text ref is going to be equal to use ref, like that, equal to empty. Let's go empty. So currently we have this AI image input. Now this should not produce now problems. Yeah, come on, stop doing that. There we go. So describe your image, and here you can say Bugatti, or what color is your Bugatti? All right, so there we go. We have this image now. Now we want to add the button. So we're going to be adding it below over here, and it didn't work first because we cannot really add our input. Now I'm going to say special button. Actually, I copied it. So let me just paste it over here because we already written that. We have the special button that's going to be generating image. And here we're going to end the get started image container. After that, we're going to be ending the image container. There we go, like that. And right below the image container, I'm going to say AI image container. And inside, I'm going to get the image source. Now, keep in mind that we're going to be returning an image from the database. And we're actually going to use this image to our image container as the image source. So I'm going to say image source is going to be equal to our image, and alt is going to be, of course, equal to nothing. So there we go. That's it. Now what I need to do is I need to give to specify what is this image over here, and I'm going to say const image set image is going to be equal to use state of no at first. So at first we're not going to be having an image. Let's see how this is going to look, and that's how it looks. So we have the described image over here, right? You're going to be entering your prompt over here. You're going to quick generate image. And after that, you're going to get the image placed over here. Since currently we do not have, this is going to be, oops, this, let's go with red color. This is going to be your image. So this is going to be image over here. Then this is going to be your prompt. This is going to be prompt. Just like that. All right, so this is what's going to be good. Of course, if I log out, you can see that home has a totally different look because we do not have a user. Once you actually get started, there we go. It re-triggers to the about page. Boom, home is actually looking nice. This is now looking amazing. What's left for us to do is to actually call the database and do stuff. So the way we're actually going to do that, and this is going to be not a bit more difficult, but rather it's going to be a bit more complicated. If you remember, during the backend, we had problems with, where is it? Where is it? In the environment with the OpenAI key. So now this is the key that I have. How do you get this OpenAI key? I'm going to show you. Do not use mine. Don't use mine, please. I'm actually going to disable it, probably. But the way we're going to do that is we're going to go to OpenAI. Now you can watch the, what was it? You can actually watch the videos that the backend video, probably you've watched it. And let's go to this overview over here. Now this is platform.openai.com, and you can go to your view API keys, and here is your secret API keys. Now you have a certain amount of images and prompts that you can use on a daily basis. I believe they're 50. 50 a month or 50 a day. I believe it's 50 a month. If you have problems with your API key, it's probably because you have exceeded the tests. If that is the case, just create a new profile and create new secret key over here and just create your key, copy it. This is going to be your key, and then you're going to put it into our backend. It's going to work. So that's amazing. Let's now go to the front end source, and I believe it is home JSX, the final thing that we need to do. And now we need to be taking care of our, what is it? Yeah, handle image creation. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to say if textref.current.value is actually no, or if our textref.current.value.trim is equal to an empty string, I'm just going to set image no, and that's what I'm going to do. Of course, here we can prompt the user and we can say, please write a valid, I don't know, a valid prompt. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say else. Then I'm going to say try. And here I'm going to say catch error. And I'm going to open and close this. So what are we going to try? Now, if the user actually generated an image and this image is going to take some time to load, right? It is going to be a valid image, so it's going to have a valid prompt. I want to go to the database, and the first thing that I want to do is to create an image query. So I'm going to say const image query. This is going to be equal to image text, and the image text is going to be textref.current.value. Guessed it. Good job. Now we have the image query over here, and if I go to my backend again, routes OpenAI, and I have this, you can see router.post generate image. It's going to be searching for request.body.image text. Once again, it's very important what do you send to the backend, because the backend expects a certain thing. We're expecting an image text. So here inside the image query, we are providing this image text. Okay, that is good. Now what I want to do is I'm going to put awaiting promised. So I'm going to say const ID is going to be equal to toast.loading, and I'm going to say generating image. I'm going to show you how we're doing that. In order for us to provide the toast spinning thingy, we need to give it an ID. And now I'm going to say const response, and that's going to be await axios.post, because we're using the post method. Where we're going to be heading, we're going to be heading to OpenAI, and I do want to see how I've written that. So let's go to OpenAI, no, to the routes. So API OpenAI, this is how we set it, and OpenAI / generate image. That's how we need to name it. So that's going to be OpenAI / generate image, just like that. And I'm going to be passing the image query, because this is going to be holding the image text that the request body is actually taking. Now, as soon as I actually do that, asynchronous wait, I'm going to take .then, and I'm going to take my response. Right? And as soon as I have the response, I'm going to say toast.update, and I'm going to be updating the toast container. So what container I'm going to be updating? I'm going to be updating the ID, right? I'm going to be updating the ID, and I'm going to say render image generated successfully. Then I'm going to say type is going to be equal to success. There we go. Then is loading is going to be equal to false. And then I'm going to say auto close, and I'm going to provide, I don't know, 2 seconds. So there we go, just like this. We're not going to console log the response data. I'm going to say set image to our response.data, because we already know that this is going to work. All right. And if I catch an error, I'm just going to say image failed. Image failed is going to be a function up over here. Oh, actually, we need to have image success as well. But whatever, let's just be negative douchebag and say const image failed equal to a function that's going to say toast error problem generating image. All right, wonderful. So whenever we're actually catching a problem, we're going to say image failed. Let's see if we're missing something. I think we're actually good. Okay, it's written like that, so let's not write it wrongly. I'm going to say catch the response. Okay, and you can even just await Axios post. Okay, let's go. Let's actually test it now. So I'm going to go React app. Let's test everything. Sign in, test two, sign in, home. There we go. Let's remove these and type a doc. I'm just going to say doc generate image. You can see this generating image, and you can see problem generating image. So log out, and refresh. We have a problem generating image, and it is because invalid API key, incorrect API key provided. You can find your API key here. What? What do you mean incorrect API key? All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the new account, go in here, env, and change this OpenAI key variable over here. Because as I said, you want to create a new account, and I'm not going to share you this key. So I'm going to change it, and then I'm going to come back. All right, I changed it, and now I'm going to go to this, sign in, test two. And now I changed the API key. So let's say doc, generate image. Again, we have problems. So let's see what's happening now. Invalid API key. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. API key. So what is going on here? Oh, that is my bad. Once you actually change something, you should be rerunning the server. So that is my bad. Let's go here now, and yeah, we kind of fucked everything up. Okay, let's go like this. Stop passing this dude. Dog, generate image. All right, and currently, there we go. Oh, I'm so happy that it worked. All right, there we go. So let's go a dog with a blue hat. So generate image. So we have this promise over here, and once we actually have a valid response, we are actually removing the, there we go, guys. All right, amazing. I'm very happy with this project, and I'm very happy how it turned out. And I know it was difficult, but I thank you for watching it, to stick with it. I hope you actually learned a lot. Now this project is, it was a lot bigger than what I expected, but yeah, thank you for staying with me. I hope you like this project. It's very amazing, dude. It's just amazing. I love how it turned out. It's incredible. Thank you for staying with me. If you have any questions along the way, do not feel frightened to ask them in the comments. Leave every question. I'm gonna try to answer everything. Goodbye, everyone. So let's log out, and boom, peace. Bye, baby.